Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com. I am love. I am peace. I am free. I have abundance. I have everything within me. For I was, for I am, for I will always be. We are love. We are peace. We are free. We have abundance. We have everything within us. For we are, for we will always be. For Mother Earth is love. For Mother Earth has peace. For Mother Earth is free. For Mother Earth has abundance. For Mother Earth has everything within her. For she was, for she is, for she will always be. And so it is spoken. So it has been written, and it is done.
All right, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight is Thursday, October 25th. We have a great show planned for you tonight. Tonight's topic is who are the aliens? And so the direction we will go with this show is to discuss some of the ancient civilizations and how they really tie to other districts, but they're calling them planets within our universe. And we can still see some of those same names today on different parts of our land on Mama Earth. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and also kind of talk about what really the pole shift really means. So I have a lot of updates on that. I do also, before we get on who are the aliens, the main topic of tonight, I want to finish up ADRIP, and then we have a lot of follow-up items. So I have slotted for us to be on here for 4 hours. So hopefully we can get it all in and everything will be cooperating with the system. So with that said, let me bring on my co-host. Let me bring on Brother Sean. Peace and love, brother. How are you?
Peace and love, sis. I'm well. How about you?
I'm well. It's good to hear your voice.
Likewise.
All right. Let me bring on Sis Sandra. Peace and love, sis. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Peace and love to you too, Sister Rhonda and Brother Sean, and to the family.
Peace and love, sis.
Good to hear your voice, sis.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll start with go ahead on with the fuckery. Y'all, I mean, literally, it's something jumping off. I mean, every hour at this point. So I'm not going to start. Sis, I'll let you start. Do you have anything you want to say? Well, go ahead on with the fuckery.
Just trying to figure out this latest crap about this Democratic bombing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can't stand old Trumpy Dumpy. And most people are calling my house talking about, we got to get rid of him. We got to get rid of him. We got to get rid of him. But yet the target is the Democrats. Okay. All right. So they want to get those.
So, yeah, that's kind of a flawed logic, huh?
Yeah, so they want to get a little sympathetic pleas out there for the public to get them back on top.
To get in the polls and vote, yep.
Yes, I am so tired of this game. I've been on this planet in the moment too long, I think. But no. And I'm just tired of them playing the same old thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
They started with this terrorist stuff in 2000, was it? Whatever it was. 9/11.
Yeah, I think one. Yeah, 9/11. Mm-hmm.
They can't let it go. They can't let it go. So this, and I hate to say it, there's some stupid people on this planet that doesn't realize they're being played.
Big time.
Go vote. So go put yourself back in slavery is what they're telling you.
Pretty much.
There's no Democratic Party. There's no Independent Party. There's no Republican Party. It's all a sham.
Yep.
It's all a sham. And then they come up with, the Trumpy Dumpy stuff with I got two briefs. They with the Saudi Arabia stuff, and Trump is throwing them under the bus because whatever reason they are, money. And,
right.
And then, there's so many things to talk about that.
I know. It's a lot.
Just distractions after distractions after distractions. And they're not telling you that you're taking all this stuff to kill yourself. So, anyway.
All right. Agreed with you, sis. Agreed. Brother Sean, you have any? Go ahead on with the fuckery.
I could, but I'm not.
Okay, all right then.
It's just too much to go off on, and that'll just cut off into too much time.
I know it really is. So I'm not gonna burn up time either. But I didn't want to, brush over it. But I agree with Sis. I'm glad she covered it about this supposed bomb scare. Although there was a post floating around on Facebook and on YouTube where they showed the package that was supposedly and allegedly sent to Boehner, and ain't no damn postal mark on that bitch. So, in other words, it ain't go through no post office. So they full of shit. We know that.
I do want to say one more. I do want to say one more thing. That man, I think his name was start with a G, in New York that was choked by the police.
Grant, the Hispanic man?
No, the one that was selling the cigarettes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Daughter,
I can't think of his name, but yeah.
Grant, whatever his name was. And his daughter started with Black Lives Matter, and she all of a sudden dropped dead at 30-some years old. And I said, I know where that heart is going. Because they do that to us. And at the same time, this person, this billionaire, and I don't want to get sued, so I'm not going to mention his name, had a massive heart attack. I said, And he's just been out of the spotlight long enough to recover from a heart implant.
Mm-hmm.
With somebody who just happens to die at 30-something, and he's part of the bombing list to let everybody know he's still alive.
Yeah, I mean, we already know what it is, and I even question that whole Black Lives Matter stuff, because we know that was set up
Yep, they
by old
supported.
boy anyway. Yeah. So we already know.
Supported it.
Absolutely, totally agree.
Why are they supporting us? If our lives matter or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And which, brings me into the next one, and I'm going to make it quick, but it also kind of goes into the follow-up with the ADRIP, well, the conclusion of ADRIP, because we just have a couple of more articles that we need to go through to conclude that up. But in the news this week is about the migration of the quote immigrants started in Honduras and going through the different nations in South America, and Trump card is supposedly sending troops to the border, et cetera. So here's my take on that. Again, I've been saying this for going on. This is the second year now to pay attention, and I told you it was coming to the U.S. I told you all last year when they started kicking the white folks up out of South Africa. I told you they were going to start be making a stink in the Americas. Okay, so just pay attention to that as well. That's also another planned event. Okay, of course, on one hand, it's a distraction for the whole election shit. But from a spiritual perspective, it is still showing you that the land migration, folks need to return to where they are. Now, in the case of the people leaving from Honduras and going to other different nations, at the end of the motherfucking day, South America is a part of the Americas. And according to the ADRIP document we just read through, they have the right to travel. Okay, so there is no borders. If you are an American, you are an American. So you are free to travel through the Americas. That's including Canada, South America, and what they're calling the Caribbean islands. Okay, so that's not going to be the end of the immigration. You're going to continue to hear that. Just recently, Ghana, and I actually personally know two people that moved to Ghana and then they came back. This was years ago. But Ghana is offering citizenship to anyone in the Americas, particularly North America, us. If you want to quote go back home, they're calling it expatriate. Okay, so again, this is the opportunity for all of those that feel they are African. Here's your motherfucking opportunity. You start looking at these African nations that are opening up their borders to you. Okay, now those of you that are indigenous to the land, pay attention to what's happening, because when that 2020 census comes up and folks that's gung-ho on themselves being African and documented such on the census could very well be setting themselves up to be the fuck out of here. And that's also including those carrying that Moor status as well. Okay, so they're already setting the grounds up. Now, if you do a little research on Ghana, the U.S. court has even put a military base over on Ghana. So they getting nice and motherfucking comfy and ready. So pay attention to what's happening. But again, for those of you that are African, you say, that's where your folks originated from, this is your opportunity. to go to those African nations that have opened their doors. They're waiting on you. Okay? All righty. So I'm not going to go into any more because I know we have a lot of stuff to cover, unless Sister Brother Sean, you had something you wanted to put on it.
Yeah, they waiting on them. As bad as Americans is, and they've been loving to eat niggas from over here for the longest. I guess they can go make a nice meal somewhere and sacrifice or something. Them people know they ain't from over there. They just looking for more slaves.
Yeah, and it's interesting because even the Guyanans, when you're over there, they're not going to call you brother and sister. They're going to call you white Americans, and they're going to feel that you're rich. So now I don't know what spin they're going to put on it this time with supposedly opening it up for their brothers and sisters to return. But I'm here to tell you, now this is just my guess, that is between the U.S. court and the Guyanan government officials cooking up the scheme. And Ghana paid to do such. Okay, but, again, that it will work out for those that say they're not native or indigenous to the land. This is going to work out beautifully for you. So I want to see how many pack up their bags and take up the offer versus getting in other folks, getting in the indigenous people's business. So I'm going to sit back on this one and see.
Sounds like
we
a
really
land grab.
See who about that. We're going to see who about that life.
They ain't about that life. They ain't going nowhere. Trump already offered to send people back, and all they want to do is get mad at him. I mean, if you really want to go home and find somebody over there that's not there, go ahead. I mean, if you honestly think you're going to be accepted over there, fully accepted. I mean, they want you over there for a reason.
Yes, your pocket.
It ain't got nothing to do with acceptance.
I
they
agree.
have more to do. I don't even see it as being as far as for their pockets either. Now, they getting, like you said, they getting cut some type of deal to dupe them up out of their birthrights and everything here.
Yep.
So that's it in a nutshell. It ain't about making no money off of them. Corporate, they already getting paid.
Yep, I'm talking about the locals are looking to make money off of them. That's about all. It's not going to be.
That's if the locals don't kill them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because remember when the colonies was set up from over there?
Negro land, Liberia.
Yeah, and our people went over there and killed and enslaved them. So I mean, they got beef with us for real.
Right. Indeed. But now there are some people that have videos on YouTube that, they living over there and they claim they're doing good, whatever. And I do know one person, out of the two people that I know lived over there, one went over there with just modest means here in the States, and they lived very well. Now, that was years and years ago. So for those that are really serious about making, picking back up in their homeland, you really cannot say that you're not given the opportunity, because now is the time you are given the opportunity. Now, for those of you that really ain't about that life, you need to really seriously take stock in what you're saying and who that you really are. Because we are in the days where whatever you're claiming, that's where you're going to be. Okay, so I'm just putting that caution out there and just informing you all on what's going on. Okay, let me get back to, we left off on rights and development on ADRIP. I have other follow-ups, but I'm going to get back into the ADRIP, and we'll just let it work organically. I'll try to get the rest of it in. All right, where's my rights and development? Because we don't have that much to finish on this. Okay, so last week we talked about jurisdiction, and I'm back on ADRIP, family. You can go and Google it to get the documentation. I encourage you to do so. It's off of NARF, NARF.org. And you can download the documentation and read through this information. So last week we talked about property rights, social and economic rights, the protection of cultural heritage and intellectual property. So we left off on right to development. Okay, I'm getting there. I thought I had it. Wait a minute. I put in here what page I left off on because the sections are getting difficult. And while I'm looking for that, the other 13, yeah, that's what I had to try to look up. All right. Let me see. Go back up. There we go, 13. Why am I struggling to find? Oh, that's because that's 14, Rhonda. Sorry. It's like in the middle of page 13. Okay, so this is right to development. If you have the documentation up, I'm on page 13 in the middle. Indigenous people have the right to maintain and determine their own priorities with respect to their political, economic, social, and cultural development in conformity with their own world view. They also have the right to be guaranteed the enjoyment of their own means of subsistence and development, and to engage freely in all their economic activities. This rights includes the development of policies, plans, programs, and strategies, and the exercise of their right to development and to implement them in accordance with their political and social organization, norms, and procedures, their own worldviews and institutions. 3, indigenous people have the rights to be actively involved in developing and determining development programs affecting them, and as far as possible, to administer such programs through their own institutions. 4, states shall consult and cooperate in good faith with the indigenous people's concerns through their own representative institutions in order to obtain their free and informed consent prior to the approval of any project affecting their lands or territories and other resources, particularly in connection with the development, utilization, and exploitation of mineral, water, or other resources. Okay, so that kind of should put in perspective, if the Native Americans claim that they are who they say they are, then how come they running pipelines through their shit, etc.? Okay, and to my knowledge, they do not use ADRIP at all, because if they do, basically none of the stuff that has been happening to them would be happening to them. Okay, So that should put something on your mind on who is really who. 5, plus they're under the jurisdiction of the U.S. court. Because the BIA, that Bureau of Indian Affairs, you can go and look that up as a corporation. Okay, so which those ones that are on the reservations and are claiming the status of native, part of those 5 quote, quote, civilized tribes, you carry that BIA card, you are indeed under the jurisdiction of the U.S. court. So that takes away your rights as an indigenous. Okay? So, 5, indigenous peoples have the right to effective measures to mitigate adverse ecological, economic, social, cultural, or spiritual impacts for the implementation of development projects that affect their rights. Indigenous people who have been deprived of their own means of sustenance and development have the right to restitution, and where this is not possible, to fair and equitable compensation. This includes the right to compensation for any damage caused to them by the implementation of state, international, financial institution, or private business plans, programs, or projects. So I'll pause, take a sip of water in case somebody want to put something on it, because that last part said a damn mouthful. Okay, so all I want to say on that is it should be very self-explanatory that us as the indigenous people, that number 5, we have been tremendously impacted. Economic, ecological, not only has the land been damaged, we have been removed from the land and haven't been able to benefit and have been put in areas that are hazardous to our health, food deserts, etc. Okay, as far as from a financial standpoint, we already know what it is. We have been essentially locked out of the financial world, where we should be the top beneficiaries of any business transactions that are running on this land, because it is our land. Okay, so what that means, I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
I just keep going back to earlier in the document where it states they're not supposed to be trying to make us no offers, period, of any kind. They ain't supposed to be fucking with us, period.
Agreed.
We supposed to be the fucking museum to them. Look, but don't fucking touch. Period.
Yep.
Admire. Look at all this greatness. Enjoy it while you're here. Because you gotta go. Got to go.
Yep.
So just enjoy it while you're here. Because, I mean, this is as lovely as people get. I mean, we it. I mean, I hate to sound conceited, but I mean, it is what it is. That's why they all over here.
I like to, if you're finished.
Go ahead, sis.
I'm done.
I like to add, this migration, Hondurans, Guatemalans, whatever else is coming, then there's supposed to be another caravan being established. It's all against us, because that is one of the things that took us down, because they started taking all the jobs and we didn't get any. So if they have the right to come here in swarms like they're coming, our people are going to get impacted by that more than anybody, because we're on the low rung of jobs anyway. So when they're talking all this economic this and economic that, what is that? I don't quite understand it. They brought all of the workers in, because I live in California, and they brought all those migrant workers in here to do the jobs. And I have a lady who has children who tried to get picking jobs and all this kind of stuff. And see, there's an old lie out there that we won't do the jobs. You know, they're the only ones that do the job. So now we got all these people coming in as migrating into our land. This is our land. So why are they coming here?
But see, the reason they're coming here is to take the slave jobs that we supposed to be vacating by being who we are and having our own shit.
Agreed.
But the thing is, we got to get rid of the whole goddamn system. The whole system got to go.
Exactly.
Right. We have to.
Therefore, that mongoloid stock that's trying to come here, trying to pretend like they're the indigenous people from the other American islands. No,
Right.
no more mongoloid. No more mongoloid stock. No.
No more mongoloids. That's who they are. That's exactly who they are.
Right. And I'm going with Sean on the whole thing of, number one, we don't have to beg for nobody's motherfucking scraps.
No.
Because it's all ours. So, you know, within their own paragraph, they're pretty much admitting on what is supposed to be happening. Because as Brother Sean said, and I agree with him, that this particular document was put together to let their people know how they should be operating on this land, just as that Constitution is for how they should be operating on the land. Okay, although us as indigenous, we didn't sit at the table and create this bitch. But the purpose of me even reading this is to just let the indigenous people know they know who the fuck you are. They know that they are in violation. But if we don't stand up at a minimum and identify who you are, the shit will continue. Although this is a different time, and Mama Earth is going to take care of it anyway. But this is how it's been allowed to go on for so long. And in the process, the land, the people, us, have suffered tremendously. And because you do have colonizers that have invaded the land, and that's including melanated colonizers too, from Europe / Asia and a little bit of Africa, it has suffered tremendously because they do not know how to operate and nourish and take care of the land, because they are not by bloodline responsible for taking care of the land. We are the ones responsible for taking care of the land. And these are some of the same folks that fucked up their own place. Okay? And once we get into who are the aliens, hopefully you're going to see that the colonizers that have come over here are also the same bloodline of different, if you want to call them planets, okay? And they destroyed their shit way back when. So that's when I said last week, it's deeper than what we even see today. This goes way back with the Lemurian times, the Atlantis times, when these folks were coming over here invading. And we see it on the landscape. You see Africa, how it's been created. It's not in its pristine condition. as it should be. You see over here where we have the ancient trees that have been cut down, and they're calling them flat-top mountains, the silicon trees, where we have deserts. Those were the result of wars and scavenging the lands, because you have invaders that we know today as colonizers over here taking and benefiting, but they don't know how to do it in harmony because it's not their shit. They're not tied to it by blood. We are tied to it by blood. And we have to make the connection with the land to bring it back in balance. And it's happening. We're going to talk about that a little more. Okay. Okay. Article 30. Am I right? Yeah, Article 30. Right to peace, security, and protection. Indigenous peoples have the right to peace and security. Oh, okay then. 2. Indigenous people have the right to recognition and respect for their institutions, for the maintenance of their organizations, and control of its communities and peoples. Okay, so just real quick on Article 32. That Indigenous people have the right to recognition and respect for the institutions, for their institutions, for the maintenance of their organization and control of its communities and peoples. Okay, and the mistakes that indigenous people have made, and some of them are still making, is joining other motherfuckers' shit. Okay, so that includes the Greek organizations, the NACCP or NAACP. We can go on and on and on. And those are under someone else's charter, which puts you under their jurisdiction. And if you trace that shit back, it is not indigenous to this land. Most of them tie back to the Crown or the Vatican. Okay? And then we wonder why these organizations are not benefiting us, because they were not set up to benefit you as the indigenous people. They're set up to hold the agenda of the colonizers, not to benefit you. Why we were never meant, and the worst thing that could have been done, the absolute worst thing was that quote, quote, integration. Because it tore down any hints of indigenous people truly building their own shit and put you in the jurisdiction of the other folks. So when folks are out there marching to be for discrimination and to be a part of somebody's shit, you're marching for your own fucking slavery. That's not your shit. You were never meant to be up under it. They didn't build it for you. Okay, number 33. Indigenous people have the right to protection and security in situations or periods of internal or international armed conflict pursuant to international humanitarian law. Number 34. States in compliance with international agreements to which they are party, in particular international humanitarian law and international human rights law, including the Fourth Geneva Convention of 1949, relative to the protection of civilian persons in time of war, and Protocol 2 of 1977 related to the protection of victims of non-international armed conflict. In the event of armed conflict, shall take adequate measures to protect the human rights institutions, lands, territories, and resources of the indigenous peoples and their community. Likewise, states. And we already explained to you what the states were that are a part of this ADRIP. So all of those is Canada and all of the Caribbeans, including those nations that are allegedly marching here, the Honduras, Guatemala, etc. Okay, so likewise states, A, shall not recruit indigenous children and adolescents into the armed forces under any circumstances. Shall take measures of effective reparations and provide adequate resources for the same, and jointly with the indigenous peoples affected for the damages incurred caused by armed conflict. C, shall take special and effective measures in collaboration with indigenous people to guarantee that indigenous women, children live free from all forms of violence, especially sexual violence, and shall guarantee the right to access to justice, protection, and effective reparation for damages incurred to the victims. Number 6, military activities shall not take place in the lands or territories of indigenous peoples unless justified by a relevant public interest or otherwise freely agreed with or requested by indigenous people concerned. And so they do have a footnote, number 3, and that footnote says the state of Colombia. Okay, so that's the nation Colombia, breaks with the consensus as regards to Article 30, paragraph 5. Where's paragraph? Article 30, paragraph 5. I don't see no 5. Well, whatever. I don't see the 5 that they're breaking from. Okay, so I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on that and take a sip of water.
Yeah. For damages incurred caused by an armed conflict.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be all these brothers and sisters getting shot down by the police?
Yes, it would. Yes, sir. Yes, sirree, it would. You are correct.
All these rapes that's going on.
Yep. You are absolutely correct.
These pedophiles. But I don't believe any of them are running around calling themselves indigenous people, though.
No, they're African, right?
Yeah, or black.
Right. Yep.
I'm just saying, but shall not recruit indigenous children.
Did you say
Yeah,
oh my God, I love that. That's old school. Go ahead.
Shall not recruit indigenous children and adolescents into the armed forces under any circumstance. So
now, help me to understand why they fucking recruiting our babies, setting up shop in our neighborhoods, setting up shop in the motherfucking schools.
That's over half their military, ain't it?
Exactly.
I see. Interesting.
Wasn't it a big stink back when Ali told them he wasn't going to Vietnam? Yeah, okay then. And people still didn't get it after that.
Military activities shall not take place in the lands or territories of indigenous people unless justified by a relevant public interest or otherwise freely agreed with or requested by the indigenous people concerned. You invited them?
I I didn't. And I don't. It's not documented among any of my ancestors.
Sandra, you invited them to do the things they do?
No, brother. And they owe a whole lot of reparations for that one because there was a whole lot of drafting going on through the Vietnamese War of our people, putting them on the front lines.
Yes.
And they put us on the front lines even now to be executed. We are prisoners of war. And they haven't done none of these things that ADRIP says. So I guess it's just wanting to hear themselves talk.
It just went into effect in 2016. So, I mean, But basically all they doing is naming common sense shit that already existed.
Exactly.
It ain't like they created the goddamn thing.
No, they didn't create it.
They just saying what we should already know. They just telling they people.
They're telling their
what
people.
To do.
That's right.
That ain't for us.
That's right.
That's for they people to know what to do.
That is
At least
correct.
those that they plan on keeping around. Because with Trump draining the swamp, man, these fools killing themselves and all this type of stuff. But one way or the other, they got to go back to where they came from, brother. It's on their feet or in a box, but they got to go.
Right.
But,
Right.
we shouldn't be so concerned with Trump because he's actually doing our bidding. You just got to look at it. I mean, they're at war with each other. That's another one of those battles that we ain't got no business being involved with.
Exactly.
We're not corporate citizens, so why do we give a fuck what they do?
Exactly. And that is the hardest thing between that and that whole you're from Africa shit that majority of our people are not getting. Stay out of white folks shit. Okay, anything dealing with that corporation does not fucking apply to you. And the out of Africa theory, if you want to roll with that, that's fine. But just make clear, you're giving up all claims to any land in the Americas.
Just sit back and watch and enjoy it. We know who we are. We know what the real deal is behind everything. I mean, it ain't real anyway. I mean, we don't have to get caught up. We don't have to get caught up in that because we know better. Sit back and enjoy it. Laugh at it. We can be having a good time right now because we know what the hell can happen. We've been putting in work. Work's still being put in, but hell, even during war, you get a time to laugh and love.
Right.
I mean, let's enjoy this shit. They the ones going crazy. I mean, look at the media. They telling on each other.
Yeah.
That's them.
Snitching and
that
everything.
Ain't got nothing to do with us.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. And, Trump card, and I'm no fan of any of them because I know the deal. Trump card is there to transition his folks to where the fuck they're supposed to be. Okay? Now, I keep telling y'all that they're hitting the coastlines and they're trying to evacuate those coastlines. All of those storms that have been popping up on the coastline, just do a little research, and folks have shown that they are man-made. Okay? Because, I'm sorry, Brother Sean, did you say something?
I think that was me saying, ooh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
I was wondering if they were coming up with it, but I figured they would.
Yeah.
That they're man-made.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you how deep this is going to go, because this will be a nice little lead into who are the aliens. There is a video of this brother. His YouTube channel is called Rap the News. He does very, very excellent work in watching the sky. Okay, now he's on this whole biblical tip. He follows the biblical scriptures and relate it to what's going on today. So, try to get past that if you're not really into the biblical ideology. But he brings receipts with his video. He literally is taking video of the sky. Okay? So he's been catching these different planets. They're already close in our solar system. And we're going to talk about what that really means, because that is a part of the shift. Okay, so 2 days ago, actually, sis, by you, somebody hit him up and said, brother, if you can, go out and look at the moon. There is a black planet behind the moon. So sure enough, he runs outside, and sure in the fuck there was the moon, and there was this black planet behind the moon. Okay? That's the first time I've seen anybody get a really good picture of that black planet. I've seen it in the background with chemtrails over it, and it's usually close by that moon, and sometimes, I don't even know if that's the black planet that hugs the sun. But anyhow, what I'm getting at, Trump card is trying to get his people to be where the fuck they supposed to be because of the shift. The planetary shift, it's physical and it's also spiritual. So at this point where we are, nobody has a choice whether they want to sit up on their ass and keep things the same, because they're not going to stay the same. It's a spiritual shift that is being brought into the physical. Okay, so that is Trump card's purpose, is to transition people out of this corporate shit, because it's gone. So anybody that's still depending on the corporate structure, you finna get your feelings hurt. I put it this way. If you depending on the corporate structure on these America's lands, you finna get your motherfucking feelings hurt. You're going to have to migrate with the people that brought that corporate structure over in the first place. And then you're only going to have a couple more years to even enjoy it wherever you go. Because the planet, she's purging herself, period, of that bullshit. All right. Okay, so Section 6, General Provisions. 31, Article 31. The states shall ensure the full enjoyment of the civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights of the indigenous peoples, as well as their right to maintain their cultural identity, spiritual and religious tradition, worldview values, and the protection of their religion and cultural sites and human rights contained in this declaration. 2, the states shall promote with full and effective participation of the indigenous peoples the adoption of the legislative and other measures that may be necessary to give effect to the rights included in this declaration. Okay, so, sorry, I had to take a quick sip of water. So, to show you how fucked up this whole situation is, they even put in here that even their corporate jurisdiction has to put legislation or adopt legislation to what the fuck we wanted it to be. So when folks was running around talking civil rights, what they really should have been done, number one, just trying to get them up off the fucking land, period. But at a minimum, if you want to phase the shit in, you were supposed to be bringing, as indigenous people, what is inherently yours. Because they are the visitors. They don't issue motherfucking decrees and laws and statutes and codes to you. You tell them how the fuck they supposed to operate on the land. You tell them how to conduct commerce on the land. And that anything that goes on this land, you are the beneficiary. You and your heirs. Okay. Article 32. All the rights and freedoms recognized in the present declaration are guaranteed equally to indigenous women and men. Okay, Article 33. Indigenous peoples and persons have the rights to effective and appropriate remedies, including prompt judicial remedies for the reparation of all violations of their collective and individual rights. The states, with full and effective participation of indigenous people, shall provide the necessary mechanisms for the exercise of this right. So I'm going to pause there. Take a sip. You have folks now, most of their court judicial system, their penitentiary, are made up of indigenous people, us. That is not supposed to be so. First of all, they have no jurisdiction over you. Second of all, let's say if they slip up and pull you over on some motherfucking bullshit and you get processed through their system, once they do realize who you really are, you're indigenous to the land, you are owed remedies for them fucking with you. This is more powerful even from what they're calling common law. Because even that common law stuff is really for their people. You trump common law. They're not supposed to be fucking with you, period. If some violation happened, it is supposed to come back to the indigenous people on what's supposed to happen with you. Okay? But because we don't know who we are, they get what they get. I'm sorry. Go ahead on, Brother Sean.
They're supposed to be locking up their own people.
Exactly.
Let's say one of their citizens rob you or do harm unto you. That's where you're supposed to go and prosecute them at. If it's
exactly
indigenous on indigenous crime, we supposed to handle that. Supposed to take care of our own goddamn business. We clean our own goddamn house. It ain't anybody else's goddamn business. Our laws is what our laws is. Period.
Exactly.
We don't need their permission.
Exactly. So even with, I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
Because as you clearly see, all they doing is outlining policy for their people.
That is what it is.
They trying to stay here. They trying to cut a new deal where they acting like, okay, you know, we know who y'all are, you know. Hey, look. Y'all can have all y'all own shit. For real. You know, just let us chill over here. You know, yeah, that's what they saying, for real. You know, we fuck with y'all. Look, we know y'all indigenous. We all for that shit. Look, we got your back. I got your back, my nigga. On the slide, I thought I was indigenous, but you still calling me nigga behind my back. I mean, but again, that's how they get out.
Right. Totally, 1,000% agree with you. But it just shows you how far removed most of us that's walking around calling ourselves Black and African Americans are, and why you get no motherfucking remedy in their courts using somebody's motherfucking paperwork that don't work, because that shit's not for you. They have no jurisdiction over you, but you have to know who you are. You're not supposed to be in their courts. Okay. Nothing in this declaration, I may have read this, may be interpreted so as to limit, restrict, or deny human rights in any way, or so as to authorize any action that is not in keeping with international human law. Okay, but yet every other day they posting videos about somebody, indigenous, getting their ass beat by a motherfucking colonizer, police officer, jurisdictional corporate officer. Every other day we see the shit going on. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Sean.
If you think about it, though, where internationally is anybody's rights being protected? People getting their ass kicked all over the goddamn planet.
They are.
Who rights are being protected, for real?
Nobody's.
That's why we got to stop the system.
Exactly, because you took the next words out of my mouth. Is that's because the people are still looking at the system for remedy. A corporation will never fucking be in your favor. Anybody that has worked on in an actual corporation, when you run to that HR department, you should fucking know what the results are going to be. Always look out for the best interest of the corporation. It's the same with these governments. They're not there for the people. They're there for the benefit of the corporation. It's about commerce. And they have stolen your land, misused your land, this is around the world, enslaved you as the indigenous folks, and then laid down governance, corporate governance, which they're calling laws, on you that don't have shit to do with nature. It goes against your values, your principles, cultures. And it has gone on around the world because we have allowed it to go on around the world. Even the folks that are leaving, quote, quote, supposedly and allegedly, leaving out of Honduras, whether or not they're Mongoloid mixed, they allowed themselves to be fucked over there as well. This is a worldwide issue. Okay.
Ron,
I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
I'm going to have to bring up this point. They put the MS-13 games, they finance the crack industry and all these drugs. And, Fast and Furious was down in Colombia and in Venezuela. They're everywhere.
Yep.
And so these people will say they're leaving from that, but those are their children. And they allowed them to come in and do that to their civilizations down there.
Yes.
So, and you know what? There is not a crack dealer, a cocaine dealer, or a marijuana dealer or what you call him, other preludes or whatever dealer, if you do not buy it, if you don't purchase it, they are out of business. And them people allow themselves to be manipulated like that. But it's all scriptural that that's who these people are. These people, and I'm sure you're going to get to that. They're the son of perdition. Their job is to kill, steal, and destroy. That's all they do. They ravish and rape the land and the people. But that's their heritage, and they can't help themselves, unfortunately.
And, you know, it's interesting that you bring up about the gangs and the drugs, because let's just go back to the plant itself. We know that the coca plant is native to the Americas. I'm not sure if marijuana started in the Americas or not, but we know the shit grow here, okay? It grow here in abundance. Okay, so I'm only going to deal with weed and the coca plant, okay? As indigenous people, to keep it real, huh? What'd you say, Brother Sean?
Hemp is indigenous to the Americas.
Okay, I wasn't for sure. I didn't know if it came from, I guess it would be here. But anyhow, to keep it real, as indigenous people, you have the right to motherfucking grow your herb and your coca plant. Okay, so these are the things that we were supposed to be governing ourselves as a people. We never should have allowed it to have gotten to that state where, and I'm not really talking about weed with the gang wars and all of that. I'm talking about the coca leaf that was processed into these many forms of drugs, okay? Because the coca leaf comes out of South America, right? And crack itself was taught to the LA folks, because Freeway Ricky Ross was the first one who introduced that crack, but the Colombians was the ones that showed him how to do this shit. Okay? So as indigenous people, although the CIA funded that motherfucking bullshit, because they were trading arms, it was a hot mess. But my point on where I'm going with it is these are the things that as indigenous people, we were supposed to be kind of regulating our own neighborhoods, and we kind of let shit get out of control. Okay? But as an indigenous person, you do have the right to grow your weed, and you can't grow coca leaf don't grow in the North America. That's only a South American thing. Okay? But we're so far removed from everything that this is why these things get out of control. Okay? So now we're to the point where the heroin, which comes from the poppy seed, which that's an Asia plant. Okay, now that shit is being smuggled over here, but this time it's kind of reversing out, where it's the colonizer folks that's getting strung out on it. Okay, but these are just some of the examples of literally everything has been used that is naturally the indigenous people's responsibility to take care of, to regulate, have been used against you, and you're not the ones you're not the beneficiaries of it. You're not the ones that was even profiting on it, although it was truly bringing death and destruction to these different neighborhoods. But shit, in the grand scheme of things, the indigenous people weren't even the ones profiting. It was these same corporations that get this type of addiction epidemic started are the ones that's getting paid off of this shit. So these are the things why the whole system, the corporate system, has to be dismantled. Point blank, period. But with that, again, becomes a responsibility with the indigenous people to self-govern your own communities. We have to take that responsibility, because it's a lot of fucked up behavior that happens in our own communities. A lot of it, yes, is the result of colonization, but on the other hand, we have to break cycles, point blank, period. All right. Shit, I forgot where I was. Okay, next article. Indigenous people have the rights to have access to financial and technical assistance from states and through international cooperation for the enjoyment of the rights contained in this declaration. Well, we know that's not happening. And I'm on page 16 for those that are following along. The Organization of American States, its organs, agencies, and entities shall take all necessary measures to promote the full respect, protection, and application of the rights of the indigenous people contained in this declaration, and shall endeavor to ensure their efficacy. Not happening. The nature,
That just goes to show our people the Declaration of Independence has nothing to do with the issue. That's why they're saying that the rights of indigenous people are in this declaration.
Yes. Thank you for saying. Can you just please say that again?
Their Declaration of Independence has nothing to do with you. Your rights are stated in this Declaration of Indigenous People's Rights. This is how the corporation and its citizens are supposed to deal with you.
Yep. That's right. That is correct. Okay, so those of you that are coming to the indigenous people, and I'm speaking to melanated folks about voting, this is why we don't want to hear that motherfucking bullshit. Those of you that are coming to us about, Black Lives Matter, protest this, we don't want to hear that motherfucking bullshit. This is why. Because all of that is for their system, under their Declaration of Rights or Declaration of Independence, that don't have shit to do with us as indigenous people. Okay, so those are the differences. For those that want to know why, it's a lot of, quote, quote, black folks that don't vote. Why? Okay. The nature and scope of the measures that shall be taken to implement this declaration shall be determined in accordance with the spirit and purpose of said declaration. Nothing in this declaration shall be construed as diminishing or extinguishing rights that indigenous people now have or may acquire in the future. The rights recognized in this declaration and the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, so that's the UnDRIP, constitutes the minimum standards for survival, dignity, and well-being of the indigenous peoples of the Americas. Now, this last sentence is powerful. Not so much about the UnDRIP stuff, but constitutes the minimum standards. So what they are saying, this declaration just outlines the minimum standards for survival, dignity, and well-being of the indigenous peoples of the Americas. So those that are running around wondering why, quote, quote, blacks, African Americans are being treated like shit, I hope that what we've gone over with ADRIP gives you a different perspective. No indigenous person created this declaration. This was the corporation that created this declaration. And out of their own words, they say that this is just the minimum standards of how they should be interacting with us as indigenous people on our shit. So that's the end of it. You could definitely encourage you to also read the footnotes, and then it goes into the delegation of Columbia, because they had a couple of things in here that they talking about some they weren't gonna motherfucking comply with, and so I encourage you to read this. Mm-hmm.
You also have to remember that earlier the states included the EU. So it's some states and everything from over in Europe also.
Yes, it sure did. It sure did. So that's it on ADRIP. And then I also noted, I found it interesting that this document, the total pages on this document is 22. 22 is the number of manifestation.
Right.
None of that is done by accident. Exactly. It's not done by accident. They know what time is coming. So what is also coming up that's of importance with the number 22 in it? That 2020 census.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, I hope that you all got a lot out of that. Again, I encourage everyone to go back, download that document, read it for yourself, do your research on your particular family bloodline to know who you are, and you start claiming who you are when you are interacting with the corporation and the colonizers. So I'll pause in case y'all want to put something on it before we, move on.
Yeah, they figure, though, that most of our people aren't going to hold them to that, because most of our people aren't going to
Don't know. Right. Don't know.
But this energy influx that's coming in is concentrated here.
Yes.
And it's actually causing them to turn on one another, because they shouldn't be here.
Yep.
As they stated in this document, the indigenous people are the only ones that can heal the planet.
Yes, they did. They stated that shit up front on the first page.
That's because we're the ones here to heal Mother Gaia.
That's right.
And what they have to understand is every sickness runs its course. Some diseases be persistent, but Mama got something for that ass.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
So, I mean, learn this. Y'all been lied to also.
Yes.
Learn who you are. Quit going by these books that y'all been lied to about also. Research your bloodline. Just like you hear us telling each other to do. Research your bloodline.
Right.
This ain't about hating y'all.
No.
I ain't got time to do it.
No, we really
or
don't.
I'm going to vibrate that low.
Right.
But you have to understand for your own benefit.
Yeah. Right.
So, I mean, research your bloodline. and go do what you're supposed to do back home. Because if you're owed anything, get mad at your people. Your people the one that sent your monkey ass over here.
Yep. And
y'all was the first slave. Exactly.
Yep.
Y'all was the first slave. And then they invited all the rest of you goddamn dummies over to be a part of the American dream, which was for y'all to come over here and be corporate citizens, which are slaves.
Yep.
So, I mean, just because you got, or you think you have more fiat, I mean, you got more debt is what you got.
Yeah, absolutely. And they showing you every day that fiat don't mean shit.
So, I mean, do yourself a favor.
Agreed.
I mean, it ain't yours. Period.
It's not. And you know in your heart that it's not yours. You already know. You know you're not indigenous to the land.
Take me back to, like, when the cops shoot an unarmed black. You know, as they call it.
Right.
You see in the comments a lot of quote-unquote white people be like, he deserved it. He was committing a crime. What should happen to y'all every time y'all break the laws that's in the Declaration?
That's right.
This has been put into law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
No excuse.
So
right.
every goddamn thing y'all do, you're breaking the goddamn law. So
right.
That means all y'all should be shot on sight, right? According to your logic.
That's pretty powerful.
That's their logic. Now, I'm just
yeah.
asking them, do it make sense now? I mean, it made sense when it applied to us, but
right.
when it applies to them, do it make sense now?
Right. Yeah, so that's pretty powerful. So yeah, that goes out to the Caucasians who are not indigenous to the land. And let's be clear, if you are Caucasian, you are not indigenous to the land. You know that you're not indigenous to the land. You need to be doing your research on your heritage to find out how did your ancestors really get over here. Because unless your ancestors were tied to the crown, your ancestors came over, as they prettied it up, as indentured servants or slabs. Okay? So you are, and they were kidnapping folks over in Europe, bringing them over here because it was cheaper than the African slaves. And then number two, the indigenous folks, if you took them into bondage before we totally lost all the wars and all of that, and if harm was caused to them, there was huge money and fines to be paid for that. So it was cheaper to have indentured servants from Europe, okay? But you are owed reparations for that. The crown owes you, and the Vatican owes you reparations, okay? So now that's for you. Let's get on the melanated Europeans that participated in the fuckery, because it started with you. You were the ones that sat on the throne when the invasions started, okay? That includes France, that includes the Dutch, that includes motherfucking stinking ass Spain, and that includes the crown. Don't think that we don't know that it was melanated folks behind it. We get it, and we get it quite clear. And as we're doing this clean sweep, your heirs, your descendants got to pack their motherfucking bags too. So don't think that we're ignorant to think, oh, the Caucasians got, goddamn it, they got to go too. Your descendants have to go too. Because at the end of the day, a lot of that hatred that the Caucasians have is based on you all behavior of enslaving them and the mistreatment. Okay, so we ain't forgot about your stinking ass either. You didn't blend it in. You think quite comfortably. But because the way that Mama Earth is moving this energy and getting help from the high dimensional system, we shaking your motherfucking airs out too. They show us every day who they are. They gonna pack their goddamn bags too and get the hell on or suffer the consequences. So I want to be clear. Everybody on motherfucking notice. Nobody's escaping. Alrighty, so now we're going to move into who are the aliens. Now, I know before I have shared with the family the video, the guy's name is Kenny, I never can remember his last name, about the cosmic egg, okay? So I've been telling you all in that cosmic egg universe, talked about the model of how the earth sits stationary, flat, and how everything moves outward. Okay, it's not the spinning ball and all of the fuckery they're giving us. Okay, so I've been telling you all for a couple weeks that I wanted to do the show on the aliens, and what made me want to do this show a couple weeks ago, I was sitting down looking at a map, and I was looking over at Europe, and I'm going to tell you all, those maps, they really tell the story, the true story of what went on Mama Earth. Because of folk ego, they will leave their markers in words, and they're going to tell on themselves, okay? We see that in our lands in the Americas with the different names, the way things were named. You can tell the indigenous people how that was their territory or their land. It's the same thing across this planet. And it hit me deeper when I was looking at the map, and I just thought of simply the name Europe. And it had been on my mind for some years because, you know, folks say that Europe was named after a melanated queen that held the crown or the throne in England. And her name was Europa. And I said, oh, wait a minute, hold up. Europa is a motherfucking moon of Jupiter. So what the fuck they doing? And then it hit me a couple of weeks ago. Said, I got it. What is going on is that different beings from different parts of the universe came to Mother Earth. And, you know, most of them did not live in harmony. And that's when wars started taking place on Mama. But prior to them coming here in their own planets, and I call them districts, and we're going to talk about it in a minute why I'm calling them districts, they had war on in their own shit and either got kicked the fuck out or came over or destroyed it and came over to our particular world because of its fertility. As the Garden of Eden, the entire planet was known as the Garden of Eden. okay? And the reason we are so special in the universe is because we are at the center, or the center of all of the energy is what we're the closest to. So I'm speaking of the pole, okay? That Arctic pole, okay? So that star Polaris, what they're calling a northern star, and that's why you hear the famous Disney term, if you wish upon a star, they're talking about Polaris. Because that star is telling you the anchor of the energy center that regulates Mother Earth. So from that star can be traced down to the underbelly of Mama, connected to that black sun. Okay, and across from that black sun, the energy shoots out underground, and it's connected through ley lines. It hits the ley lines, and the crystals carries that energy across the planet. Okay, and that's what that whole plasma, we've been talking about that for a couple of weeks now. The whole plasma that they're saying that's very active in the Arctic. That's what all of that's about, G-centers. Coming back online and actually stronger. Okay, but back in the day, before all of the wars took place on the planet, those particular energy centers running through the crystals were the roots. The crystals served as the roots of the silicon trees, or the giant trees. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's an excellent documentary on YouTube called There Are No Forests. Okay, so picture that movie Avatar in your mind, if you may. And they showed the different beautiful trees. And as they walked on the ground lit up. That lighting up of the ground was showing you the energy centers running underneath the ground, those crystals that were tied to the silicon trees, because that's their root system. Okay, and the people in that movie were connected to the land, and the land to the people, and the animals were connected to the land, and the animals were connected to the people. Okay, so that's how deep this goes, that we had an invasion on this planet of different beings that has caused a lot of the fuckery. So if you can, I don't know if you have a paper or pencil, a pen by you, if you can, bear with me here. What I would want everyone to do, and if you don't have it, you can go back and do this later, off of the concept of the cosmic egg universe. And take a circle, and I want you to draw 9 circles, but I want the circles to be in each other. So you draw one big circle, then another, then another, then another, then another, then another, and then your 9th circle should be squarely in the middle. Okay? So when I talk of these other beings coming from other quote, quote, planets, what they're calling planets, we've talked about this before, are not planets, they're energy centers, okay, that regulate vibrations of their particular district. So those 9 rings that I asked you to draw represents the different districts beings are coming from. So, for example, and I'm just going to deal with our solar system. Okay, so that ninth ring, the biggest ring, Pluto. Next ring, Neptune. Next ring, Uranus. Next ring, Saturn. Next ring, Jupiter. Next ring, Mars. Next ring, Venus. Then the next one is our particular area. And we are right at the center. We are closest to the center, to that Polaris star. Okay? And what they're now, some people call the Polarian beings that supposedly live underneath where we are. They live underneath the Arctic. Okay, so that's where they even got the name Polarians from. It's based on that star, Polaris. Okay, so each one of those particular systems or districts, I'm calling them districts, Pluto that they're calling planet, has its own sun, its own moons. I don't know how many motherfucking moons or whatever Pluto have. Okay, Neptune, same thing, on and on you go in. Okay, so the other thing that I want to note with this, that the beings, there's different beings that came from these districts. So if you're looking at this circle, and I'll back up, each one of those circles has what's called and the Kenny dude, he has a new video out, and he literally just put it out last week, and I ran across it, and I'm like, oh shit, he's validating what I just saw a couple of weeks ago in the spirit realm. Okay, some of it, because the way he categorized the races, he was off, but that's okay. That's okay. So each particular district has a torus field around it, or energy center. Okay, so that's number one. And then in addition to it, each particular district has that Arctic wall going around it also. Okay, so we know about our particular Arctic wall. Even Polaris, Polaris, the center, has its own torus field. Okay, that is an invisible energy field. Okay, you can also call it a portal. It's a portal over into the next realm. So there's an invisible ether portal called a torus field, and then that an Arctic wall was formed also. That's the physical one that we can see. Okay, so that's that I wanted to point out. So these torus fields in each particular district, they are the ones that rotate around. Okay, and I believe that torus field is the portals. That's where the opening of the portals will happen. Okay, but it has to be in a certain age that they open up, and you have to have a certain vibration in order to walk through these particular portals. Okay, so each district that I described has its own torus field that spins and vibrates at a certain rate, and they have their own solar systems. So meaning they have their own sun, moon, and multiple suns, multiple moons, and their own different stars or energy centers. Okay, but bottom line, they each swerve a certain way with the vibrational rate. There is its own separate system. Okay, so I'll stop in case anybody want to put something on, and let me get some water. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
It's for so long that people don't realize or have forgotten. Like you were saying earlier about the giant trees,
Mm-hmm.
the different races,
Yep.
the different species.
Yep.
Like dragons were our friends. There's a reason that they're in folklore or in their writings as being evil and something they feared. They were our friends. As far as for giants, let's say, they said the Lemurians were giants.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanteans were normal-sized people like us.
Right.
I mean, even during the time of giants, you always had quote-unquote normal-sized people.
Yep.
And the quote-unquote normal-sized people have always been the ones charged with protecting Mother, or else
Right.
we wouldn't still be here.
Right. Right.
But people will find out that even in those outer realms, you have quote-unquote black people.
Yes, that's where I was going. I was going to get into the races. Yep.
We are everywhere. Everything came from darkness.
That's right.
Dark light is the brightest light. Everything began in darkness, remember?
Yep.
But I digress for now.
Okay. So, very good point. We're going to get into the races, but before I forget, so we talked about the outer layers or the districts. So think of it as, and I have to give credit to Brother Kenny on his new video. The new video's name is off of the Flat Earth Paradise website, and it's called Cosmic Clock Creation, Space, Time, Matter, Extraterrestrial Lands and Beings, 2020 Solar Event. Okay? I encourage you to look at that. Don't get too thrown off of his description of the races. He's, to me, now that's just my opinion, he's off on that, and he even admits that, you know, folks may not agree with him on the races. But that's where I'm getting the concept of the outer rings, and the best description that I love that he gave on this. If you cut down a tree and you look at a tree stump, you can tell that. How can you tell how old that tree is? It's by the rings, right? Isn't it by the rings within the tree, on the tree stump?
Mm-hmm.
So picture these districts is what I'm talking about. So each one of those rings are their own civilization with different beings in that civilization. Okay. Now, in addition to that, I'm just describing the physical. What I just described to you was the physical of the universe. If you go up, so going up that Polaris pole, you have space and air, but there is a cap because we are encased and enclosed. Okay, so it isn't outer space, isn't what they tell you that it is, meaning up and out, above you. Out is pushed out with these districts or rings. That's why they call it extraterrestrial, extra territory. It's out. Okay, but let's deal with up. Up are the ethers. I'm just calculating that there are between, because they always say seventh heaven. So when you hear them talk about seventh heaven, that they are correct. It's up, but it's ether. So in order to access those particular ethers, you cannot do it in the physical body. You have to be in your ether, Merkaba or Makarba spiritual body to access those ether realms. So I'm estimating it is between 7 is the lowest. I think it's between either 9 or 12. That's just our particular encase universe. Okay, that's not including the multiverses that are also out there and that are also being created. And we're going to talk about those other multiverses in a second when we get into some videos. Okay, so I just want to paint the pictures. Now, I'm sorry, sis, did you have something?
No, I'm just in here.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to overtalk you. Okay, so
it reminds me of a story I read about that somebody went past the Taurus shell. It was a ship that was lost, and they got into a rim that had no sun, and they were cold and all that kind of stuff. But it was long. It was something. I think it was a video, and they were showing the story. They were showing the story how they found out that we were here, and they decided to come here to. I think I said this before. I know I did. They decided to come here to see where the sun was, and that's why the Aztecs and all those people in South America is where they invaded first, because the little boy had the sun disk and all the gold and all that.
Yeah, you talked about that, because remember I asked, now where in South America isn't South America close to the Arctic? We did talk about this before. Yep, and it would make sense, because if you go look at that map, you'll see that I think Argentina, the tip of Argentina, is close to that Arctic. And so that would make sense if they were able to come from their district and cross across one of those forest fields to come over to our particular civilization, and they would hit South America. So that would make sense. That would make sense. Okay, so let's get into the races. Now, the races kind of get a little sticky, but we do know that we have 4 distinct races. Everything else are a derivative. So you have what they're calling white or Caucasian. I'm going to say melanated. I hate using the word black because it means something else, but whatever. Melanated black. We have Mongoloid, which they're calling Oriental, which that's offensive nowadays, folks, to call somebody Oriental. I have to get on some of the old school people, and not get on them, but just kind of pull them aside and say, it's not good to call Asian people Oriental. It's like calling us a nigger. But anyhow, so the Mongoloid and then the Indo-Asian. Okay, so those are really what we're calling the root races today. So everybody in between today with all of this, there's so many, I don't even, this Hispanic and all that motherfucking bullshit. that's a derivative, a combination of one of the quote, quote, root races. And the root races I just described only apply to the age that we are in now. Okay, the prior age we were in, which was the lowest age. Okay, because we were at a very low vibrational state. Okay, so now white folks or Caucasians are also associated with the term Aryan, right? They use that term Aryan. Okay, now what I believe that particular Caucasian race was seeded on Mars. Okay, I believe that another being, and I'm going to go far out on a limb and say it was the Anunnaki, which are the melanated beings, were responsible for seeding the Aryans, and they were seeding them on Mars. Okay, now far as and they were the last race to be seeded. Let's be clear. They were the last race to be seeded. They were the last race to be introduced into our realm. Okay, like Brother Sean said, everything started with the melanated. Okay, and even there are variations of that melanation, but everything started with what you want to call black or deep melanin. Okay, and we do know that the Anunnaki beings are that. Okay, so the next one I think India, or what they're calling India. Okay, I'm speaking of the Asian India, were the next race to be seeded. So the melanated beings always were, and we were sprinkled throughout the universe. So meaning we were on Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus. Okay? But there were different bloodlines. So these districts represent different bloodlines that started with the melanated folks. Okay? So the next root race, well, the first root race, because melanin is melanin. Okay? It has no beginning or ending. So the first root race was the Indian, the Asian Indian. Okay, I'm not sure where they were particularly seeded. I don't know that. I don't know which district they were seeded from. I don't know for sure if that was also the Anunnaki that seeded them. Okay, but we do know that they are the next, one of the ancient races in this realm. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
I think I heard they came from Venus.
Now, that's interesting that you say that, because I felt that Venus is also the spot of Lumerians. That's damn interesting that you say that. I can't make this up. I'm literally, and I'm going to take a picture of what I drew out of the different districts, and you'll see where I had Venus/Lumerians, okay? That would make sense, because in their mythology, aren't their beings blue? A lot of their, what do you call them?
Well, they're elephants and humans, and they blue-skinned it and all kinds of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with that. So a lot of their gods, their spiritual gods, are blue. Okay, and we can also associate that with Lemurians. So maybe the Lemurians seeded them. Shit, I think you just answered that, sis. So it could have been the Sumerians that seeded the Indo-Asians, which would make sense how they ended up in our particular realm. So it was a mixture of the Lemurians, the melanated Lemurians, and the Indo-Asian Lemurians. Okay, so that makes a damn good sis. Thank you for that. So the last one is the Mongoloids. I have no idea. It could be Orion, which is in the Saturn district where they were seated. But I don't know by which particular being. I don't know if it was the Anunnaki or the Lemurians or someone else. Okay, but I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
Well, if you look at Job, they tell you they were locked in the Orion, I think, in the seven sisters.
So that's Saturn then. That's Saturn, and we know that the Anunnaki control Saturn. So that makes sense.
There's something about the 7 stars or something like that. They were wrapped in that belt.
That was the 7 sisters. Yeah, so that makes sense. Yep. Okay, so thank you, sis. Thank you. So, okay, we can say that the Asians came from that Orion, or the Mongoloid Asians came from that Orion constellation, but were seeded by the Anunnaki. Okay, so now we do have... I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
That would be the Canaanites, the Genghis Khans and Genghis Khans and all them Khans. And I think it's part of that Prometheus story.
That's deep. That's deep. Okay.
Yeah, so Prometheus obviously was supposed to seed them from his seed, because he was kicked. Remember the introduction of Prometheus, where he was kicked down here by the Anunnaki.
Right, they kicked him off a ship, right?
Right. And he fell in the water, and his DNA away to RNA, and then that's where they get that Darwin's chart of evolution. And they came up out of the water, and then they became marauders. It was 10 tribes, is it? And that's what took down the melanated people that was ruling on our plane.
Which would make sense, because that kind of ties into the whole Anunnaki story where Enki, remember? Enki is supposed to be the quote creator of beings, and Enki is associated with the reptile. Okay, that whole evolution. Okay, and Enki is an Anunnaki being, and he can be, a lot of those Anunnakis can be found in the scriptural Bible. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, Brother Wendell laid that shit all the way out. We did a total series on the Lost Book of Enki, and he went scripture by scripture on a lot of those scriptures that were describing the different lords and the different gods. It was really speaking on the whole Anunnaki beings. Okay, so now we have the Greys, the other beings that we do know about. We know about the Greys. We know about the reptiles. I am just going out on a limb here. I'm assuming that the Greys were seeded by someone just different literature that I've read, that the Greys are very easily to be programmed. And they use the Greys for slavery, and they also, the Anunnaki has also been tied to seeding the Greys. Now, that doesn't mean they seeded the Greys. I'm just putting it out there. But the Greys, I'm thinking that they were in the Jupiter district. Okay, and there's probably other beings within that district and different constellations within Jupiter. The reptilians, I am assuming, were also on Mars. Okay, and I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
I just want to say something about the Greys. When I watched a documentary of the Greys where they captured them when what's that place in Mexico?
Area 51, Roswell.
Roswell, and when Eisenhower was president, when they did their biopsy on them, they were just like robotic or high level AI.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're not actually breathing beings, but things. That's why I saw the documentary about them and how they were like in suits or some kind of skeletal system they had, but and so that's what the AI technology is coming from too. Is that gray stuff, because they wanted to seed the universe with the workers, and they have different levels of. Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's
because I agree, because they were saying that the literature that I read, that the Greys were the first slaves in these different districts. Okay.
Right.
And so
they're like.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. They're like a matrix unit. They don't think, they respond.
Yes.
Just like the robots they're trying to get. And they have a central computer type situation that is the whole organization. So they can't capture one of them and get any information from that particular one, because they're all linked to a higher matrix of workers or
right.
Intelligent control is what I'm on.
Right. So like a computer system.
Like a computer system, yes.
I'm sorry. What you say, Brother Sean?
That goes the same for us. We're in skin suits.
That's very true. Yes, we are.
And
yes, we are.
We have to remember that every vessel that's walking around don't have a soul.
Yes. Yes. And just what Sis is describing, the Greys, they're one of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one we're going to get into is the reptilians, which I believe they inhabit Mars.
Violent.
Yes. So they're the violent ones. They're soulless as well. Their whole DNA makeup is survival. Okay. So they know nothing about compassion and love.
It's takedown.
Blah, blah, blah.
They're just takedown. They're just conquerors.
Right. They're just conquerors. Exactly. And very destructive. Okay.
Right.
So anybody that has done any research on alienism, it is said that the U.S. corporation is riddled with with the reptilians. Right. That a lot of the Aryans or the Caucasians that you see in power, really that's the skin suit that they're using, but they're reptilians at nature in nature. Okay. So now what I'm saying is that even the reptilians are being controlled by one of the master races. Okay. So the only master race that I know of at the time would be the Anunnaki. I'm sure there's others that people know, beautiful. You can take the ring and fit them where you feel fit. I'm sorry, go ahead on, sis.
I would say there was the queens. The queens, they're the master race over the reptilians. Because if you remember, there was a fight between the Anunnaki king, Anu, against the reptilians. And Mother Earth, it was the prize. They were fighting for this planet because of the resources it has. So the queens, or the dog people,
that's serious.
Those are the dog people, the reptilians. They're part of the queens. Yes, God, it's a story I heard about creation. I since we don't ever talk about this stuff, I kind of forgot most of the stuff that I learned. And that's the Aryan part of it comes in as well.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully folks are getting the picture that these names, the Aryans, even the Syrians, Sirius, so whatever, exactly. So the solar system where Sirius is in, and I think, which particular African culture, is it the Ethiopians? The Dogons. They clearly say they're from the Sirius star system.
It's true.
Okay. Matter of fact, they told the science community there's three. There's the A, B, and C.
Right.
And once they were finally able to see that there was three, it blew them away. Like, how did you know that? And they're like, because that's where we are from. So, very good point that sis just brought up. That's where I'm trying to go with this. That the whole warring system that is going on our particular lands, these beings have come from these other districts. But all of that warring that was going on started in them outer layer districts first. They didn't have shit to do with us. Because we were closer to the center.
Right. That's why some of the Egypt, Africa, is scorched and nothing burns. I mean, nothing grows there, because the Dagons talk about a great battle where they were running away from their enemy and they got here, and they were in some kind of transported bus or ship or something, and the ladies came, the women came later, but they were having crystal laser fights.
Mhm. Yep.
And a lot of the land, or some type of nuclear burn-off happened in areas of the, deserts in Africa that doesn't grow anything anymore.
Right. Absolutely. So now that's when they started coming over here invading. But prior to that, when we were a higher civilization, they were already fighting each other in those outer districts.
That's right.
Okay? Because the Lumerians, we know, were over in our particular area, and they were living peacefully, chilling and all that, this, that, and the third. Then the Atlantis civilization was stood up, and I'm believing that the Atlanteans, most of us that are indigenous to the land, I need to correct that. those of us that are indigenous to the Americas are the Atlanteans. Okay? And the Lumerians were over here also. And then that's how the Indian Asians got over here as well. But even with that said, they were all fighting with each other before they came over to us. And once they started fighting each other, they started scorching their lands, effing up their resources, destroying energy centers, and then that's when they came over into our particular district through those portals. Now, those portals that I talked about, that tourist field that I talk about, there are certain ages, meaning as the Polaris sky turns, and with all of those energy centers up top that they are calling planets, they're really energy centers, that ticks off, that controls the vibrational rate of the particular districts. And based on where it falls in the sky, those particular energy centers is controlling when those torus fields or portals are going to open up and close.
So,
okay. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
That takes you to 2020. So 2020 is prophesied to be the end of the people in the wrong places. Because I think they were given like 400 years to reign. And after that, it's toast.
Exactly. Everybody has to go back to where they're supposed to go, or it's not going to be a pretty picture.
Right.
So, that's where I was going with it in the broader scheme. So hopefully you'll see how the different beings are from the different districts, and what we see today in our particular realm, which was Atlantis all around our realm, because this was a paradise. But as these different districts came in and either brought their seeded beings here, and then some of them came, they started filling up the different continents. Okay? And as we fail, the indigenous people of this particular realm of the Americas, as we fail, that's when Mama Earth started flooding sacred lands. So that's what they're calling the what's it called, y'all, when the lands broke apart and created the continents? I know y'all know what I'm talking about.
Pangea?
Yeah, Pangea. Okay. Yeah, Pangea. So that's when the split happened, when the vibration fell even further. Okay? And I believe that once those wars took place over here and they started desecrating the land, scaling down the silicon trees, Mama had to react to that, and she reacted by splitting the land, or to sinking the land. So that's where the Polaris went, because what she was trying to do was separate the bloodline. So she separated the Americas continent, what we're calling the Americas continent, that represented the original people, and then the other particular continent, Europe/Asia/Africa, had the other bloodlines in it. And if you go to Africa, they were still off the motherfucking chain, because you can go back and look at real ancient old maps, and you'll see where there was a lot of other beings still in Africa, mixed with different animals / human beings that were living underground. Okay, but all of that was not native. I don't even want to say native, indigenous to the entire Atlantis. But once we failed, the vibration rate failed, and the silicon trees were cut down, and Mama was damaged, and she could not hold a higher vibration. She sunk them lands to split the continent, to separate the bloodlines. Okay, so sis hit it right on the head when she talked about 2020 is the aligning back to bring Mother back into balance, and the land is going to vibrate at a certain level, and if your bloodline does not match, you ass out. You're not going to be able to survive. That is one reason why everyone needs to get back to their particular quote, quote, continent. But when I kept saying it gets deeper than that, this is where the whole Mars thing comes into play, where you have these different Caucasian / Aryan corporate leaders trying to get people to go to Mars because they're setting it up for folks to go back to the particular district where they are supposed to be. Now, let's be clear. Mars is not just going to be all, quote, quote, Caucasian Aryans, because they may be in different other districts along with other melanated folks, too. Okay? Because melanated beings are in all of these particular realms. So let's be clear on that. Now, the other thing I want to discuss, that they already have the technology to go through that Taurus field realm. They already have it built and ready to go. That's why they keep pushing. Oh, we're prepping to be able to go to Mars, to colonize, blah, blah, blah. They already have the technology.
Would that be CERN? Because CERN was...
It could be CERN. It absolutely could be.
Because they were using that to find the portals. They were using CERN to get enough energy to split the atoms to get through the portal.
Yeah, it could, and that's a great point, sis. It could be CERN. But, yeah, they already have it. From a spiritual perspective, that's what I'm seeing. They already have it. And Mars will not be the only one, because this 2020 shift is huge. We're already shifting. And when you watch Brother Kenny's video off of Flat Earth Paradise, Cosmic Clock, he literally drew out all of the meridian lines. He lined them up with the zodiacs. He lined them up with the different ages. And you're going to see, because each one of those rings move at a different rate. And so based on the way they move determines which age they're going into. But when you hit a major meridian line, that constitutes big changes. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis. Did you have something?
Well, you were saying it's not going to be just Aryans that'll go, Europeans and stuff. My neighbor is a Mexican, and he's married to a European, and she won't listen to him. But he signed up to go to Mars.
That's interesting. Yeah, I remember you telling me that he had got his little application because you tripped me out. I'm like, oh, there's an application. They ain't bullshitting, huh?
They didn't hit me up with no app.
Bring that shit to me. I'm like, look, you applicate your ass off this land. Let's motherfucking start. Shit to me.
Well, I guess it's going to be really a survival issue.
Because that's why I keep saying Trump card is doing it behind the scenes because people got to get the fuck on.
Yeah, because he's enlisting a military space something or other group.
Yeah, SpaceX.
Yeah, space something. And a young man was sitting up there where I was, and he was talking about he's a Marine. He's getting ready for his duty station. He said that he's looking forward to be a part of that team. And I said to myself, interesting.
Well, I mean, it could be something in his DNA telling him he needs to get the fuck on.
Yeah, it could be. I just sit there and say, okay. But our ancestors going to whip your butt. But anyway.
Yeah, but, I do want to put in a disclaimer also. Let's be clear. This ain't about no black and white. So don't think that all melanated people are going to be in this realm chilling because, like I stated earlier, when those continents split, when Mama split the continents, she split them based on bloodline. She didn't split them based on fucking color.
Nope, it didn't.
Okay, so that means melanated people that are not indigenous to the realm will have to go to their respective areas as well.
Well, when the Golden Horde or the Mongolians ran across this planet running amok, they enslaved lots of people. Lots of them. He actually covered 20 million square miles of this planet, taking down civilization. And he took some of us to places like Russia and Europe and all that kind of stuff. And that they, after centuries, blended out and they don't look like us anymore. So, because he captured a lot of people, especially the women. The women were taken and the men and all that kind of stuff. Because that's recorded that he did do all that crowd. So
yeah, but it was still melanated folks that sat on those thrones also.
Well, I mean, Asians were the Mongols, and what they did, they inbreeded with us for the purpose of capturing the land through heritage. See, that was the purpose of it. They first sent the women over here to seduce. So as in Carolina has a history of some of us who had been inbred with them, and they, after about 3 or 4, generations, they start passing off as white people or European.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right on that. Because they're doing the same thing, trying to redo that in Africa today, right?
Right.
Yeah. So same thing. Okay.
Yeah, because they want to have some heritage to the land. So when he came, he took them over to Russia. A lot of them through the Bering Straits. He captured what they call the Northern Kingdom, which in the Bible it says Israel is the Northern Kingdom and Judah was the Southern Kingdom. But so if we're going to put it in terms of what it is now, they captured most of the upper United States, the northern part of the United States.
Oh, okay, yeah, which we would call like Canada and Alaska.
And of course Montana and all those areas too, because they were able to cross. They were able to cross over into us when the land was when the water had receded. So that's how they did it. That's another history.
That makes sense. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. And if you think about it, because they came from these other districts, So
Mhm.
meaning the Aryans, meaning the Mongoloids, they already had been warring. You know what I'm saying? They have been going from warring within their own districts, then warring between districts. Okay. So that was nothing new to them, is what I'm trying to get at. That's where I'm going with this. Okay, so I'll stop. Brother Sean, if you want to put anything else on it. And if family, if you want to join the conversation, press *1 to get in the queue. If not, I am going to get into a video. So, I'm sorry, go ahead, brother.
I'm going to look at this from a spiritual aspect. The soul is not in the body. The body is in the soul. Your soul is the universe.
That's right.
So everything that's happening is happening within inside of you.
That's right.
Now, to look at it in the aspects of what we call this physical body, your organs are the continents. And each organism that resides in and on each organ shouldn't be flip-flopping and all over the place. It's not balanced. In order for nature to be balanced, or for the body to be balanced, everything's supposed to be where it's supposed to be.
That's right.
And as far as for all these other things, that's what we call disease, which is man-made, like things we created within the universe that we shouldn't have. So
I can't argue with you on that.
Everything that we've created on the macrocosm, we've also created on the microcosm, what's inside of us.
Excellent point. So this next video, I ran across this brother. I just love the way when, you're tuning in to the universe. Whenever you need answers to something, you're going to get them. And I was just so happy to run across this particular brother. And I'm going to go through a lot of his videos, but his YouTube channel is called Remedy H. And this particular video I'm going to play is, what is your original planet? I can't make this stuff up, y'all. I have been thinking about this stuff well over 2 months. And so I just ran across his information last night, and I'm like, oh my God, that's what I've been looking for. He's laying it out, what I've been seeing. Woo, woo, woo. So let me get the video. Sorry, go ahead, sis. I'm looking for the video.
I want to say something about India and the Venus connection and stuff like that. When they came over to India, there was some Tamil people there, which was us.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tamil, something like that,
mm-hmm.
they taught them what they know today. They taught them what they know today, and they turned around and killed them and took their identity.
That's deep.
So they ended up being the Indians today that they are.
Wow. That's deep.
Because their script, I saw a whole documentary on the script that they wrote of the history. They really proud of how nasty they are. They'll write it down for you. So that's what they did. And it was the Tamil people, and and he was one with the world, the universe, and all that kind of stuff. And he taught them how to build. And once they finished that first temple, they ended up killing them.
Wow. Okay, well, that's all lining up. So this video I'm about to play, get comfortable. It's a little lengthy, but we got the time tonight, and you're really going to get a lot out of it. It's off the YouTube channel called Remedy H, and it's What is Your Original Planet? So here we go, and we'll come back and talk about it.
Brothers and Sister Melon, Brother Wisdom here. I want to talk to you about the original origins of who we are. And I briefly want to talk about ETs. Well, these Caucasoids called ETs, extraterrestrial. All right? We are the original. The word terrestrial means the original inhabitants of a planet, or in other words, the indigenous peoples. Okay? And these Caucasoids always, when we see these they so-called UFOs, which are only our brothers and sisters that are hovering above us or flying around, these Caucasoids already letting you know who they are. They say extraterrestrials. All right, the word extra means additional or more. All right, so if you have extra money, you have more additional. So the extraterrestrials are our brothers and sisters according to these Caucasoids. All right, according to their definitions. They said, oh, these are extraterrestrials, and then what they do is they give you the picture or the depiction of some long-haired, slender-faced, gray being with these big old giant eyes on the side of his head, or on the front of his head. That is not the way our people look. When you're talking about extraterrestrials, you're talking about our people who look just like me and you. And a lot of them come down and walk among us, and we don't even know they're walking among us. All right? So there's no such thing as extraterrestrials. Now, where do the brothers and sisters reside? Where are they? Well, they're inside the universes. That's what's inside our planet, with what you call the firmaments. That's why, sometimes you see them and they just disappear. Like, where did they go? You got this portal opening up. They are in like the atmosphere, the stratosphere, the ionosphere, the chronosphere, the magnetosphere. These are all universes where our brothers and sisters are residing still on the planet, but they're just in another dimension on our planet. All right, so they're here on our plane, and they're here, but they're watching, and they will love to do some things to these Caucasoids, but they're waiting for our people to wake it up, this is getting ready to come. That awakening time is going to come. It's going to be detrimental for these Caucasoids. Just to clear up the extraterrestrial and the ETs, we are the original terrestrials, as well as our brothers and sisters are original terrestrials, but they say extraterrestrials because they're saying there's more of these so-called niggas, more of these black people, extraterrestrials. There's more of them. All right. A lot of us have original origins. Long ago when we came to this planet, after we had built the planet, we had placed a lot of our people here to protect the planet. Because our sole duty, like I keep telling all of our people, our sole duty is to protect the planet at all costs. At all times, our duty is to protect the planet. And we come from different places. Like, for instance, your original Europeans. Your original Europeans are people of melanin. They come from the planet Europa, which is a planet that revolves around Jupiter. All right, they say Europa is one of the moons of Jupiter, but Europa is is a planet that revolves around Jupiter. All right, and Europa If you look at the picture of Europa, Europa is full of gold. All right, there's lots of gold on Europa. It's full of lots of gold. You got brothers and sisters, like for instance, my home planet is Septiraman, and then I went to Nibiru, and from Nibiru I came to this planet here, which is Kai. A lot of our people have come from other planets, come from Mars, come from Venus, come from Uranus, come from Neptune, your Jupiter, Jupiterians. Those are your so-called aborigines, your blonde-haired, dark-skinned brothers and sisters. Those are the ones from Jupiter. You got brothers in so-called Africa who are from Mercury. They're these really dark black brothers, dark-skinned brothers and sisters. And they are, very, very, they feed off the sun. All right. They feed off the sun, and they are dark. And these are the brothers and sisters that are from Mercury. You got sisters and brothers that are from Venus. All right, and they have a little lighter hue than the brothers and sisters from Mercury. You got those from Mars. You got those who are from the Sirius star system, from the Sirius galaxy, because Sirius is a galaxy. When you say star system, that's a galaxy. From the Sirius star system, which is a galaxy within our universe. The galaxy outside of our galaxy. Our galaxy is the Omega Galaxy, which is actually now the Niberian Galaxy, because Nibiru is now back in place. But we come from all over the galaxy and the cosmos. Some of us come from the Pleiades galaxy, where your Melanin Palladians are from. All right, and we come from everywhere, and we were placed here on the planet for reasons of protecting the planet, for reasons of healing, for reasons of different things. And our planet is not supposed to be going through all this discourse that it's going through now, but things are going to be changing. All right, things are going to be changing. We're going to be making big changes on the planet. But I wanted to talk about the original origins of where we're from. And it goes deeper than a lot of our people think. Oh, we come from Africa. It goes deeper than that. It goes way deeper than that. You got to understand the depth of it, and that's why this Caucasoids wants you to be stuck on this one thought of this country called Africa. They want you to be stuck on that, so that you won't go no further and say, well, what planet did I come from? Where planet did I come from? Did I come from Neptune? Did I come from Pluto? And they say Pluto is cold because it's far away, but they don't know. They've never been there. Pluto has its own sun. Pluto is a very hot planet. Pluto has 3 suns, by the way. But see, they don't know that. You gotta dig into the cosmos. You gotta have cosmic knowledge. These beings have no knowledge of the cosmos. They think, oh yeah, because Pluto is so far from this sun. No. Each one of these planets has got their own sun. All right? Each planet has got their own sun. You might have one major sun that illuminates, because it's blackness. It's nothing but black energy. It's dark energy. It illuminates, and it gives off energy. But each planet has its own sun. All right. So, and that's the question that you must ask yourself now: is what planet am I from? Where am I from? What is my purpose? What powers did I have on my planet? A lot of your so-called Mexicans come from different planets. Like I say, Mars. A lot of our people escaped Mars and made it here when these Caucasoids had invaded Mars, and we had to end up destroying those Caucasoids that was on Mars when they nuked the entire planet, because they couldn't get that red gold. That red gold was literally ripping their bodies apart. They was touching the gold, and it was vibrating so high that it was literally causing their body parts to fall off. They grabbed the gold with their hand, and the vibration of the gold was just, causing their bodies to dissipate, and that's why they nuked the planet, because it was no good to them. So, and we had to save the planet. But the whole thing about it is having the knowledge of who you are. Where did you come from? What is your origin, your original origin? Like I said, we're not talking about no Africa. We're not talking about this, like I said, Europa. And those are your Europeans, Sumeria, which is also another planet in our universe. And this is where your Sumerians came, and they came in and went into that land over there. Atlantis is another planet, and this is how we named the land Atlantis. So whatever planet we came from, we named that land after our planet. There's no Mexico and America and Israel. We didn't have all that that garbage. We named the land from the planet that we came from. That's why a lot of the brothers and sisters from the Sirius area, they were related to the Sumerians. So that planet, that Sumerian planet, is in the Sirius star system. So they called it the land Sumeria. But then, of course, your brothers who are from Mercury and your brothers and sisters from Mercury and from Venus and all, they also, just mingled among them. And we brought technology with us. We brought ideas. We brought building blocks. We brought energies and frequencies and vibrations. We brought different crystals and minerals that we planted into our planet here. And she accepted it and multiplied these different elements that we brought here to the planet. All right. So when we came from these other planets, we brought the material or the elements or the crystals, minerals, and metals or whatever we brought. We brought the frequencies and vibrations. We brought trees, the different trees that's here on the planet. We brought them here with us and planted them here on the planet because it would do us some good. We built this planet. We literally built this planet millions and millions of years ago. So it's all about tapping into your Akashic records. So it's like, what planet did I come from? Not what land mass did I come from. It's what planet did I come from. And we got to search your heart. That's why you go into meditation. You go into meditation and get within that inner peace, that inner balance, all right, and find out who you are and pull in that power and that energy from deep within, and you will find out. You will flow on the waves of the cosmos, and you will find out where you came from. So it's important, we got all these planets here, and we got more planets. We got the Andromeda galaxy. All right, who came from Andromeda? Who came from the Andromeda galaxy here in our universe? We know about the Sirius galaxy. We know it's different, and it's important that we go that deep into finding the truth about everything. See, the truth is within you, so you got to go within you. Because when you vibrate within, then the universe outside and the cosmos outside of you will vibrate, and that information will start coming to you. Because you remember, every thought that you have is a new atom, and every new atom brings forth a new energy, a new power. Okay, so every thought is a new atom. It's important that we bring ourselves in place with the cosmos. So that's the question. This is the subject that I wanted to talk about. The origin of our existence, where we come from, where we originally came from, and we must search that, because when you search that and you find out, then therefore you can you can meditate on the vibrations of that planet. You can find the frequencies of that planet and meditate on it, And, some of you maybe say, oh, I'm from Neptune, I'm from Uranus, I'm from Jupiter, I'm from, and we come from these planets. I'm from Mars, A lot of your people who are the red people, what they call the red people, they have that red hue. They come from Mars. They have the black hair and just like us, but they just have a red hue to them, a natural red hue. They're from Mars. Your brothers and sisters from Venus are your darker brothers and sisters. And of course Nibiru, which is a fiery planet. Nibiru is iron oxide planet, but it's also full of monoatomic gold. Septarium, which is that black blue planet, but it looks black blue because we made it that way. It's a ship actually, but it's there's a lot that we have to focus on. There's a lot that we have to see. Where's my original? Where's the origin of where I come from? Find that origin. Meditate on that origin and become more powerful in it. All right, brothers and sisters. Just something I wanted to tap into. It's something I wanted to tap into, and no hate. I don't need the hate mongering from the Caucasoids, because you're not from this planet, you're not from this galaxy, you're not from this universe. Your so-called forefathers invaded our universe. They invaded our planet, our galaxy. So there's no planet that you are from, because all of these planets here are highly vibrational planets, and your bodies will not be able to contain the vibrations that's on these planets. So I don't need the hate mongering and he's racist and all that. No, just because I'm uplifting my people don't mean I'm racist. But I do tell the truth, and I will not hold my tongue back. And you best believe that when the time comes, if it need be, and I have to fight, believe me, I will fight. But I will win also. I will win also, and this is the time now, my people. This is the time now. So as time is progressing, it's best that we start searching. We start searching and search within yourself, so that you will know who you are, so that you can gain that planetary power that belongs to you, so that you can operate on the wavelengths and the frequencies and the vibrations of that planet. All right. All power to the multi-chakra people of melanin. Peace. I'll catch you the next time later. Bye.
Okay, family. And again, that video was off of the YouTube channel Remedy H, and that one is named "What is Your Original Planet?" So I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on it. Go ahead. Now, before you do, Brother Sean, we're going into overtime. I don't see anybody in the chat room, but in order to continue, you have to remain online. 929-477-3858. 929-477-3858. We're going into overtime in 6 minutes. I'm sorry. Go ahead on, Brother Sean.
Like you were saying, they invaded. That disease, the realm had to vibrate at a low enough frequency for them to exist.
Yep.
He said they can't get to the other realms because they don't vibrate high enough.
Right.
Therefore, they can only exist here as long as Mama is out of balance and vibrating at a low frequency.
That's right. That is absolutely correct.
So it's like white blood cells. When your blood cells get too many white ones, you're sick. So I want to mention, I think that the Mayans came from the Pleiades or Orion. That's what I heard about the Mayan, which is my bloodline. But I heard it, and I think it was Pleiades.
Okay.
So he's pretty much, and they landed here, and of course nobody was here. I think they were the first ones or something, and then the Lemurian race came up from that, and that's the Lemurs. Lemurs, you know, lemur, which means anchor. Moors.
That's where the whole Moor term came from.
Yeah. So they anchored here to this land. So I think that's what the Moors claim, that they are from Lemuria.
That makes sense. And it's so if you're saying Orion, that's in the Saturn district.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
it probably. I can't remember where everything's at when I start talking about it, because you have to keep it in mind where it's what. Yeah. So I mean, but the Mayans come from the Pleiades, I believe.
Okay.
So, and that's probably around the belt of Orion. Oh, I think it's a little bit above Orion's belt.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's, if I can recall.
I heard it said that the Moors were from Mars.
That's what I heard, too, that the Moors were from Mars.
They probably did, but that was Lemuria. Yeah. That's where they say they are, the Lemurians. But then they blame the Natchita in Louisiana as being part of the Moor line.
They're not, because that's where the fuckery is coming into play with this whole Moor stuff, because you identify as Moors, that's either Europe or Africa.
Yeah, that's what.
Not the Americas. Now that folks are from different places, but that's been recent indoctrination.
Mm-hmm. What I heard is that they came from here, went over there, and told them that we were here, and made a way to get back here to take us down. But they are distant cousins. That's what they say.
Well, they weren't originally from here, so either it was one of ours, meaning the Americas,
right,
went over to Europe or Africa, or it was the European Africans coming over here.
From when they was landed on that Dutch ship, 2000 of probably.
Exactly. But no, Moors are not from here. I know that's what they're running around saying, which that particular part of their indoctrination, I do not agree with. They have not proven that the Americas is part of Morocco. That's shit that came out of there.
I don't believe that either.
No, and that's where they're getting that whole ideology from.
But Morocco was over in Africa, and the Sultan.
We know that.
Yeah, the Sultan wanted to get a piece of it, and the St. Louis Fair in 1904 had a map with Morocco on it, but that was an exhibit. So it really wasn't a land mass, as they seem to say. But yeah, that's what they say. They're from here and they went over there years ago, and I think also they're connected to the Vikings. The Moors are connected to the Vikings because the Vikings used to come down and maraud, or what do they call it? Invade and take the other upper states or countries or whatever they were. And the Vikings used to come across and do their whatever they call that stuff, taking burning and pillaging and all that.
Pillaging and stuff. Right. Right.
And
so hopefully, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
For the Moors too.
Right.
The Vikings.
Right. So hopefully everybody got out of Brother Remedy H's perspective of that the melanated folks came from different places or different districts or different planets. Okay. So again, it is about a bloodline. Now, you know, he's going under the rule that the invasion all happened, you know, from the Aryan race or the Caucasians invading the particular our particular district. But as Brother Sean pointed out, our vibrational rate had to be low in order for folks to even come into our realm from another district in the first place. Okay. All right. So the next one I want to go to is the Atlanteans. Okay. It's happened to be from the same brother. And this video, Remedy H, is the YouTube channel. And this video is called Atlanteans Are the Oldest of Our Planet. So let me pull the video. So bear with me. I should have been pulling it. Okay, here it is. This one is only 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and chop it up.
Brothers and sisters of melanin, what's going on, Brother Wisdom? Need I remind you guys that everything that we know today as this system is a big illusion. These phones, this car we drive, the clothes we wear, the internet, the job, the money, the credit cards, the tax service, the stock market. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on. All these things are illusions. They're here today, they're gone tomorrow. But the only thing that remains here after everything is gone are the people of melanin. That is all that's going to remain here. Nature. We are nature. We people of melanin. Need I remind you that we people of melanin, we so-called African American Negroes, we so-called African American blacks, we so-called Black Americans, colored Americans. Why did they call us all this? Why did they give us all these names? So that we would not be able to identify as Atlanteans. And the key point of identifying as Atlanteans is the fact that the Atlanteans are the longest known race of beings on this planet. We Atlanteans are the oldest species on the planet. This is why they were trying to, when they invaded our planet, you know, and they found out about us. This is why after they caused us to fall, they tried to weed out our existence. We golden toned people, and then put it out in society later on that, oh no, we're not really full breed, and we're bred with some other what do they say? Some other race. We're bred with we got some white in us because we got this brown color. When in reality, they already knew that we ancient golden warriors, we are the original golden warriors of the planet. We are the oldest known species on our planet. And they tried to take this away from us. And we've got to go back and get this. And we've got to understand that this is our planet. We were the first ones here. This land right here called Atlantis is the motherland of the planet. Not Africa, which is Sumeria. It's not the motherland. This is the motherland. If the land called Africa was the motherland, then we wouldn't be having the problems that we have here, and all of them orc beings would be on the other side of the world. But they wanted to come to Atlantis, which is the richest land known across the planet. Now, there are other lands that they don't want us to know about. This is why they only want us to travel from so-called America to Africa, to Europe, to Africa, to Australia, but they don't want us to go beyond that point, because then we're going to be running into some brothers and sisters who's going to introduce us to some crazy powers. This is why we must go into meditation for this time being while the system is here. We must go into meditation so that we can link in with those other brothers and sisters and use our hyper-conscious mind, all right? We use our hyper-conscious mind and begin communicating so that we can gain the knowledge that has been lost for so many years. They don't want us to know who we are. This is why they have this so-called Western world. You know, I was listening to a video and was talking about the Dogon tribe, and there was this orc being, and they were saying, I don't understand how these Dogons, they're primitive people because they do not have the Western world technology as far as telescopes and computerized equipment. But he says, but we don't know how is it that they know about the stars around the Sirius system. They said we don't know how they know about this. We don't know how they know about the different parts of the cosmos. Like, we're supposed to be some dummies. You see what I'm saying? So they try to hold back as much as they can. This is why it's good that we go into meditation so that we can link in to our ancient powers and our ancient knowledge, okay? So that we will be able to teach our people the truth of everything. I'm going to go, in a little while, I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to start talking about the rock beings and the tree beings and the different beings that we had on our planet before these beings, these orc beings had destroyed our towers. Our towers were our main source of communication, energy, and life on our planet. And when they destroyed those towers, those orgone energy pillar towers, when they destroyed those orgone energy pillar generators that we had here on the planet, it shut down pretty much everything. Like I said, the trees, they walked and talked among us. And we had rock beings that walked and talked among us. You know, we had all what they call the dinosaurs, which were dragons. You know, so these beings don't want us to know the truth that they literally ripped our planet apart and they took away so much from us. But Atlantis, we know now that we so-called copper-colored people, we so-called African-American Negroes, we so-called black people of America, black Americans, we know now that we are Atlanteans and this land is Atlantis. We know now. And we are going to take our land back, and we're going to take our planet back. And as the old cliche goes, he who laughs last, laughs best. We're going to laugh last, you orc beings. And it's going to be the best laugh ever. It's going to be a medicinal laugh. Because you actually think that you're going to keep us down? No. And I know you watch these videos. I know all the agents who watch the video. I see you. So, the oldest known species on the planet are the Atlanteans, which are us. All these tribes, Missouri, Mississippi, Kansas, Calif, Florida, Miami, Michoacan, Livernois, Detroit, all these tribes, Ottawa, Chattanooga, Kalamazoo, all these tribes, thousands of tribes, we're returning, and we're taking back what belongs to us. We have awakened, and the sleeping giant is no longer asleep. All right, my people, this is for this morning. All power to the multi-chakra people of melanin. Peace to you all.
All right, family. So again, that was off the YouTube channel Remedy H, and that video is Atlanteans are the oldest of our planet. So I'll pause in case Sis or Brother Sean, you want to put something on it.
I guess that's why they said we disappeared from the planet. We went underground and they never saw us anymore because they, like they said in Psalms 83, they took counsel to destroy us. They changed our color, our hair. They changed our culture. They changed our language. They changed our history. They changed everything to keep us from knowing who we are.
Right. So, hopefully that the family can see it goes deeper than beyond what we're seeing right now. These are ancient spiritual wars that was taking place. And also, hopefully you see how your bloodline is tied to the land. You are a part of the land, and the land is a part of you. Now, the fall, and I'm going to keep saying this, the fall could not have happened if we were in balance within ourselves, within our own universe. And we held that high vibrational rate of the planet. No invaders could have come in unless the vibration was low enough for them to cross across. Okay? And so once that happened, kept falling further and further from a vibratorial standpoint. And a lot of that happened through warring also, destroying the technology. And the technology he was actually describing sounds really, really familiar to what Tesla was introducing in the 1800s. Okay? Which was right around the time that we started really becoming prisoners of war in North America. Okay, so I do want to make that point clear also. But this pole shift that is happening, and I'm going to, the last video that I'm going to play is still by Remedy H, and it's We Are the Reasons for the Pole Shift. But I want to take that out to content to go back to the diagram that we discussed earlier with the circle within the circle within the circle within the circle, 9 rings out or 9 circles out, and each circle has their own district. So Pluto being the furthest out district, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, its own district, Jupiter, its own district, Mars, its own district, Venus, its own district, and then where we are now. And then we all talked about that there's different beings from these different districts, but all of these districts started with melanated beings. Okay, and then I also described to you if you go to Brother Kenny's video off of the Flat Earth Paradise YouTube channel, and that video is called Cosmic Clock, Creation, Space, Time, Matter, Extraterrestrial Lands, and Beings 2020 Solar Event. He literally has built a scale model to depict the rings. Now, his rings are going to look different than mine. He went 4 levels out. But then he also built around those rings a clock that lines up the zodiac signs, that lines up the different ages, the bronze, the silver, and the golden age. And he also drew out the meridian lines with the energy sources. And according to his model, each particular circle ring moves or turns at a certain vibration. And as it is turning, that depicts a different age that they are going through. And not so much that the land is turning, it is that torus field that we talked about, that each one of these rings have. Okay? So those torus fields represent the portals that open up and close based on the particular age that we are in / the vibrational rate. When we get to the frequency of hitting one of those meridian lines, that's when major vibration changes happen on the particular district. And I believe when we hit one of those major meridian lines, that's when the portals open, those torus fields, and how the different beings from the different districts are able to cross over into other districts. But the big 2020 event, now in the video, this is where I disagreed with Brother Kenny, because he's looking at it as a minor event. I'm looking at 2020 as being a major galactical event that is going to bring in other universes. Okay, so that 2020 will mark the official, what we're calling reset. That reset is a spiritual thing. It's going to be physical also, but it's going to be spiritual as well. So this video, I'm not going to blow the thunder of this video, because he does an excellent job explaining we are the reason for the pole shift. And again, this is from the Brother Remedy H. So I'm going to look for that video, and Brother Sean or Sis, if you want to put something on it while I'm looking for this video. Okay. All right, let me see.
Hey, so are we looking at the rapture? Because
you can look at it as that, yeah.
Because they know it's coming. Everybody knows that
right.
Europeans knows about the rapture.
Right.
And I was wondering, is that in their DNA or something? Because
it's
they teach
all
it.
of our DNAs.
Yeah, and that is the raping or the reaping or the culling, that's a good word, culling of the unrighteous to their own places. And they think it's a good thing, but by the etymology of the word, it's not a good thing. Because it's better to be left behind, but they teach it the other way.
Oh, that's a good point. I never thought of it like that. That's a damn good point. Yeah, because the rapture does teach the opposite, that those that are left behind are the ones that's damned, and the other ones. Now, think about what they said. The other ones will be lifted to heaven, right?
Right. Which is those realms of where they came from.
Exactly. It's those districts. Absolutely.
Yes. I said, so they know they're going to be sucked up because they show it in their movies.
Yeah, they do show it.
And they're going to be burnt up probably because they can't get through the different what you call them?
They'll be able to get through. They will because the tourist field, the portals, they're going to open.
They're not going to get through in the flesh, though. They're going to be taken out of that.
I think they're going to get through in the flesh. What I'm seeing in the spirit realm, they are going to get through with the flesh. Because that's when the portals open, you're able to come through in the flesh, but you have to be resonating at that vibration.
At that particular, well, there'll be a lower vibration because they're lower from us. So that vibration will
probably. But won't that resonate with their particular realm?
It should.
Exactly. And I'm only saying that with strong conviction because based on what I saw in the spirit realm, literally, you're going to be able to walk through that tourist field. And it's going to feel like this vacuum of air mixed with water. And then when you walk through, it's going to be a totally different civilization or world. But if you do not resonate with that vibration, you're going to feel it. I mean, really, really.
Probably break apart.
You're going to know that you got to get the hell on. You need to go back to your respective realm. So, but yes, very good point about that rapture. Damn, I hadn't even thought about it like that. So, okay, so this is the video. We Are the Reason for the Pole Shift by Brother Remedy H. That's the YouTube channel. Damn it, I just had it. There it is. Okay, this is a long one, but it's still a good one. This is going to be about 19 minutes. Here we go.
Brothers and sisters of Melanin, what's going on? This is Brother Wisdom. Well, tonight is very warm. It's going to get hotter. These orc beings here in this Michigan tri-state area they have plans to create a thunderstorm in order to try to cool the planet off. Now, what I need to explain, guys, is the fact that the reason why this pole shift is happening, okay, and we all are anxious about the pole shift. All right, we really are anxious about the pole shift. And as I explained to you guys, the how the shift will happen. All right, the primordial shift, which is the pole shift, and explains to you guys what will happen during the shift and the magnetic energy that's going to be around. I mean, but as the shift moves closer, other things are going to start happening. Like, for instance, our planet is going to literally turn into a giant magnet. Okay? Now, what I need to explain to you guys is, okay, say, for instance, my head is the planet. All right? My head is the planet. All right? And you have a multi-dimensional world coming in one side of the planet, and you have a supreme density world, or supreme, which is a high vibrational, high frequency, high dimensional world coming in the other side. All right, and what happens is these two worlds, the parallel worlds, are coming together. See, and that's what's happening right now is you have all these earthquakes on one side of the planet, and you have earthquakes on the other side of the planet. All right, and it hasn't really impacted the center of the planet yet. The center, well, not the center of the planet, but it hasn't impacted like the center of the United States, the center of South America, all that area. It really hasn't impacted it. Okay, and the reason why is because these parallel worlds are pairing up with our planet. So as they pair up, the ground and all is just, moving, because these parallel worlds are moving in, and these orc beings know about it. That's why they want to try to cover the sky. They want to they're trying to make the planet cold to try to hold back the shift, as an attempt to hold back the shift, but nothing's going to hold back the shift. There's nothing that's literally going to hold back the shift. Now, the reason for the shift is us. We who made the ultimate decision to shift our minds from this dummy density world, which is a dummy density world, which is religion, money, job, fame, the thing, the Huxtable thing, the Huxtable thing, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, I want to go to college, I'm going to be, everything that these orcs have created, the illusion that they created to make us appear like we could be as great as them in the society that they created. Be a politician, be this, I want to be that. So what's happening is we have awakened. We people of melanin have literally awakened all over the planet. You got the silent awakeners, and then you have the open awakeners. All right? Now you got some of our guys who are just straight up agents who are still working for these orcs and trying to keep our people from focusing on what's really going on. You got those who are still talking about, we can do some money right here. You got some of them still talking all about this religion and all that. That's nothing. Okay, it's us who made the conscious decision to open our eyes to the reality of who we are, tapping into ourselves, tapping into that inner energy. Now, what's happening is the parallel worlds have always been there. So when these beings came and attacked our planet and caused us to fall, that was a mental thing, because mentally we fell, which means our planet also fell from her high frequency, high vibration, high density. Our planet fell because we failed. Now, after 500-something years, we finally have reawakened, which they fought so hard against us for this awakening. I mean, they literally fought so hard, and I think we talked about that one time. You got the Black Bottom, which in Detroit. We got the Harlem Renaissance. We got the Black Wall Street. We got all these things there. You got the things that happen in Atlanta. We got all over the so-called nation. They fought so hard. Now, why do they fight so hard against us outside of all the other melanin brothers and sisters? Because we're the Atlanteans. All right, you got to understand that we're the Atlanteans. So they fought against us to make sure, because when we make up our minds, all right, when we make up our minds to shift, it is us who make the ultimate decision for the planet, because we are the original beings on the planet. All right, we Atlanteans are the original beings on the planet. So they needed to keep the original beings in a low mindset so that we can focus on their fallacies, focus on their fake stuff. So when we made that decision to awaken, we became the pillars that you see in the movie Transformers. You see that movie in Transformers where they had the pillars and they were setting the pillars in certain places on the planet, and Cybertron is just a depiction of our higher dimensional planet. All right? And that's what Cybertron was. So these orc beings don't want the higher dimensional planet to come because that will make them feel like they have lost the power that they've given themselves. Because for so long, they have been living on the notion that they are the rulers of this planet. Okay? So now that we've come to the point, we're like, we don't need them anymore. Why are they here? Who are they? And when we finally awakened, because while we were asleep, we was like, oh yeah, we're just one people and we all bleed the same blood and we just love each other. And they, at the same time, they were slaughtering us. Now that we awaken, we're like, who are they? Where'd they come from? How did they get here? They're not supposed to be here. Wait a minute. What is this piece of paper that why do I have to give you a piece of paper for something that's on my planet? So this is the awakening that we've had. So now we're at the point where we're like, we no longer need them anymore. So what we're doing is we are literally reaching up into the higher dimensional planets, the parallel worlds. We're reaching up, and when we go into that mass meditation or go into our self meditation, and we're pulling and we go into our higher dimensional minds, we're reaching up because we're cosmic beings, and we're grabbing hold of our higher dimensional bodies and pulling our higher dimensional bodies into this lower dimensional body. Okay? So now we walk around feeling all this energy and this tingling, and we want to get more and more and more because we want to be able to move the elements. We want to be able to do things. So what we are doing is we are literally the pillars who are bringing the parallel worlds back together as one. Okay? Because we made that conscious and righteous decision to cross out these orc beings, the system they had. Now, you know, you got a lot of people be like, all we got to do is just stop working for a day and their system's going to fall and they're going to, no, that's negotiation. That's like boycotting negotiation. That's like your march and protest. No, we're working. Hey, we're working. We're doing this stuff. We're getting this little whatever stupid money that they're getting and giving it right back to them with the bills or whatever. But then the extra money, what are we doing? All right, what are we doing with this extra money? We're building. We're secretly building things that they know nothing about. We're tapping into our inner selves and we're building things and we're creating energies on our planet. All right? And we've learned how to go back to the trees and send that energy into the trees, which also powers up the planet because we're bringing the parallel worlds together. We're the ones who's doing it. We made that conscious decision to do it. This is not in your Bible. This is not in your Torah. This is not in the Quran. None of this stuff is in there because that stuff that's in those books have already happened, but they happened on another planet, and then the majority of the stuff is just bullshit anyway. A lot of the stories are made up, stories that they stole from place, but then the wars and incidents that happen in on other planets, not even in this paradigm. So it's us who have literally bringing our multidimensional and our high dimensional worlds into our world. And we're seeing this all over. We're seeing the earthquakes and all because the earthquakes are just a representation of these worlds colliding and coming together as one. It's like you're skin grafting or you adding something to your body, and it's kind of painful when you're giving yourself that shot or you're doing some cosmetic to your body. All right, and it's a necessary cosmetics that has to be done to the body, so it's going to cause some hurts and some pains, and these are the quakes. These are growing pains that our planet is having, and our planet is expanding and growing into a new dimensional organism, which we are growing into new dimensional organisms. And like I said, this is us that's doing this. It's just not happening haphazardly. It's not happening haphazardly. It's not happening just because it's got to happen. It's because we made the decision to awaken. And when we made the decision to awaken, we literally brought our worlds together. Now, you look at that last Transformers that was out, Return of the Dark Knight, all right? And how these orc beings are showing us that they do not want us to tap into that feminine energy. They need us to feel like we're a part of them, like we're one with them. See, they need us to turn away from the feminine energy. That female on there was the feminine energy, and as we tap into that feminine energy, what happens? What happens? It's that same rod, the same piece. It was a rod. The one Transformers, there was several rods, and now this Transformers, it was just one rod, and it was bringing the high dimensional world into this world. It was bringing Cybertron, which is our high dimensional planet, onto this low dimensional planet that they made. So, and they fought because they knew once the high dimensional planet would pair up with our low dimensional planet, all right, our low dimensional planet will no longer be low, because the high will make the low high again, which means that they would lose all rule. So they're losing rule right now. They're losing rule. They're losing a lot of ground right now, and they don't know why. They're fighting against us. They're fighting real hard against us. So just know, brothers and sisters, as this pole shift takes place, all right, as this pole shift moves into place, all right, these orc beings are going to be putting up a fight, because they're going to try to still retain their position as rulers of the world, which they don't have, and we're tired of them. And this is why it's important for us to stay in meditation, to keep our bodies charged up. There's so many lessons we've got, you know, and I know I've given you guys on lessons how to charge your body up, how to charge your solar plexus, how to charge your chi up. You know, that one charging thing I showed you guys on the videos. You know, there's so many different lessons that you've gotten, and I use these all the time. I use these more than often. These is frequently. I practice these frequently and keep myself charged up. You know, using the herbs and spices, you know, to charge yourself up. And it's important. So we are the beings, we Atlanteans, the original beings of the planet. We are the ones who are bringing Cybertron, which is our higher dimensional planet, all right? And we're bringing the other, the multi-dimensional planet to our planet, because we made a decision to tap into our higher dimensional bodies, and see and the more of us that tap into our high dimensional bodies, the stronger it becomes. So what's going to happen? Our planet is literally going to become a magnet, and no plane will be able to leave off the ground. No plane. None of their metallic poisons that they put in the air, like they use, will be able to go into the air. By the time they filter it out, it's just going to pull right to the ground, and they're going to wonder why their planes are not going to be able to lift off. And so these are the things. So these are some of the things that are going to happen. And as this magnetism grows, which is this feminine energy, we're going to literally feel and see a total difference in our planet.
We're going to see what the sky really looks like. We're going to see what the ground really looks like. We're going to see what our world really is supposed to be. Okay? We are the cause of the shift, my people. You are, I am, all of us together, because we made a decision to tap into our higher dimensional minds. Okay? It's important that you understand what's going on. It's our duty to protect the planet. It's our duty to protect our people. It's our duty to return back to the place of power where we once came from. And we are the ones who are doing it. Okay, my people. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Hope you understand all of this here. We're going to talk about some more a little later, okay? But as for now, that's all I got for right now. All power to the multi-chakra people of melanin. I need you guys to pass this message on to so many of our other brothers and sisters of melanin. I need you to pass this message on because it's because of us who made the decision that we no longer need these orc beings on our planet, these so-called white people. We made the decision. We don't need you anymore. We made the decision. We don't need your system. We don't need your money. We don't need your government. We don't need your cars. We don't need none of this stuff, your credit, none of this stuff, your education, your religion. We don't need none of this stupid stuff that you created. All we need is our higher spiritual mind, our higher dimensional mind, so that we can return back to the people that we're supposed to be. All right, my people. All power to the multi-chakra people, and melanin. Peace to you all.
Okay, family. So, again, that video is We Are the Reason for the Pole Shift, and that is off of the YouTube channel Remedy H. So I'll pause in case Sis or Brother Sean, you want to put something on it before I give my 2 cents.
You can go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Go on with it.
Okay. Okay. Personally, the video was pretty self-explanatory, and it resonated with me really, really well because, we've been talking the past 2 years, and, and I'm speaking of Sean and Sis and I, about raising your vibration, going within, balancing your chakras. It's all about you. You are the change that you want to see. So that's why this resonated with me. And then the second point, of course, was his explanation of the higher dimensional universe. Okay, that spiritual universe. And just to put it in perspective to when I earlier talked about that brother from the YouTube channel Rap the News, him recording all of the different planets in the sky that they are literally covering with the chemtrails. So all the different planets, the additional moons. A couple of days ago, he recorded how there was a black planet behind the regular moon. That is the higher dimensional other world that is merging with our physical world that will shift the vibration even higher. Okay, so that's what I loved about the video. He brought it in perspective. So as we talked about those torus fields, remember I said the torus field has the portals. So that's why sometimes you can see those additional planets / frequencies in the skies, and sometimes you can't. It's because of the portals opening up and closing. Okay, but they're opening so much that it is very hard for them to hide all of these different energy centers or planets that's being shown to us from the higher dimension. Going to come a point, and I believe 2020, and it could even be 2019, where they're not going to be able to hide it anymore. Okay, so that's what I really, really loved about this video. Only other thing that I wanted to put out there, that let's be clear, when this merging of the higher vibrational world occurs and raises our vibration in our particular realm, it's not just going to be white folks, quote, quote, white folks, that has to go back to whatever realm they're from. It's also going to have to be those other melanated beings that are not in line and resonating with that vibration. Because at the end of the day, this is all about vibration. And if you cannot handle the frequency / vibration, you will not be able to survive. So that's the only other thing I wanted to put on there. So I'll pause in case Brother Sean or Sis, you want to put something on it.
Yeah. Okay, take for instance, spiritually speaking.
Mm-hmm.
All time we weren't.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's even as far as for calling ourselves Atlanteans. What language is that actually? I mean, we are aliens because these bodies aren't who we are. It's something we're using in order to participate at this particular level.
Mm-hmm.
Considering we're multidimensional, one of the questions we should be asking is, what other dimension are we on?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? We know that the existence isn't like it is here. But it's being able to go within.
Right.
Which, in a sense, can actually be out, considering you are the universe.
Yes.
And everything within it. So, actually, when we reject something, aren't we rejecting ourselves?
Mm.
If we're everything and rejecting a part of ourselves, or looking at nothing as not being something, when nothing is a part of everything, is all part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's all us. Even what we call the white man, that state
Yes.
of it, didn't we create it?
Yeah, we did.
The aliens that seeded the planets is us.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we're talking about being called Anunnaki or Pleiadians or
Right.
whatever.
Syrians, right.
All of those are physical representations in the English language.
Yes.
So this English language had to be something that was agreed upon
Mm-hmm.
across multiple dimensions. But I guess the consequences of the improper use of it
Yes.
Sometimes because it's
Right. And it matches the vibration, right? The
mm-hmm.
English language matches the current lower vibration.
Exactly.
Totally agree. Sis, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, I said a lot already.
I know we all did. It's been good stuff though. And if you don't, that's fine. I had another point, but I didn't want to be selfish if you had something
No.
to.
Go ahead.
And I guess, since Brother Sean brought up about everything is us and it starts within, and let's think about these other multiverses, because it is really even deeper than what we discussed tonight, because and you touched on it one night, Sean, and you just made a simple statement. I'm not sure if people caught it, but it took the breath out of me, because that's the way I felt when I talk about creating. I'm not only talking about in this particular realm, once you tap into those higher dimensions, you're limitless. So meaning you are a part of a collective consciousness that builds and create these universes. Okay? So that particular universe or spiritual realm that he is describing and that we are seeing in the sky, that is being merged with our current physical universe, was also another creation. So it's just not those two. There's also other multiverses, as Brother Sean said, that are currently being created. And as an ether, unlimited being, energy that cannot die, through your consciousness, you are also able to participate and be a part of that. Okay? So this is just the beginning of your consciousness being raised to a higher level in this particular realm, because more than likely you are also existing in other realms as well. Okay, but to come back to this particular realm, as the spiritual dimension that we're seeing in the sky with the different planets, the black planet, the red planet, they've seen the blue planet, they've seen the green planet, we're seeing multiple suns, we're seeing multiple moons. As that continues to merge with the physical realm that we're in now to raise the vibrations, the vibration level is going to get higher, higher, and higher, and the consciousness of the people will also get higher and higher and higher. And that's when you're going to be consciously aware of creating beyond the particular realm that you're in. So that's all I wanted to say to the family. I hope that you got a lot out of this particular show, to see that it is deeper than just, the indigenous to the Americas, that is also on the spiritual front, and as well as these other districts. And hopefully you get a flavor of where we've come from and where we're going. So thank you for being patient with us going through the ADRIP stuff. I encourage everyone to pull that document, to read it for yourself, research your ancestry, know who you are from a physical perspective, and how your ancestry ties to the land, and also on the spiritual side, because remember, we always tell you things happen on the spiritual planes first, that you keep working on mastering self, knowing yourself from the spiritual perspective, and start getting in alignment, because the energy is there. It's just waiting for you to use your higher self to tap in. Sis, do you have any last words for the family?
Well, I was just thinking about, as we awaken, instead of all the respect that we need or we clamor for, we'll start having more positive energy. We'll make our insides more happier, and we'll get more peace in knowing that we're not on our knees anymore, and we're not a culture that is the underdog for everybody to step on. I think that our people will find more joy and more happiness when they start joining their spiritual nature to the oneness that they're supposed to be.
Indeed. Beautifully said, sis. Brother Sean, you have any last words for the family?
Yeah. We're past the stage of political correctness.
Yes.
When your stomach is hurting or it's that time, you take a shit. And shit is usually violent. It's nasty. It's funky. But that's what you got to do. You got to let go. You got to get rid of all this bullshit that's been put into you. You're full of shit.
That's right.
Time to take a laxative, whatever, get that colon cleaner. And it's time to take that spiritual shit.
That's right. Indeed. And as a brother once said, you can never turn bullshit into gold. So, thank you, family, for being with us. Thank you to Brother Sean and Sis Sandra, my co-host. Love you both very much. We'll be back next week. I'm not sure on what. So thank you, family. Love you very much for your support. Peace and love.
Peace and love.